Hey everybody, welcome here to Pop Culture Philosophers. I am Rockin Robbie Billups, here for Rockin Robbie Live. How are you doing out there? Had a great weekend? I hope you have had a great weekend. And let's end it here on Sunday night on Rockin Robbie Live. We'll be talking about comic books, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more. We'll be taking a look at our favorite comic books from last week. We'll be taking a look at what comic books are coming out this week. We'll be having an episode of Marvel in the 90s and a top 5 as well. And we're going to wrap it all up with some show and tell. So once you get in here, let me know that you're here. Your questions, thoughts, concerns, comments, that drives this program. So let's keep it going. And let's have fun tonight. So throw out any questions you have about any comic book news, movies, pop culture, all that stuff, you know. That's how we do it here. Had a great Teen Dog Shades night last night. Hope you didn't miss it. If you did, it's up on the channel right now. I had comic book artist Kevin Stokes, and I had PCP crew member Jay Strick in the house, and we went deep. Kevin goes deep on some of this stuff, and it was pretty fun, and I had a lot of fun with it. So I hope you check that out. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at @TheRockinRobbie, though I'm hardly ever on Twitter these days. Probably best to avoid that. If you're on Facebook, you might as well follow Pop Culture Philosophers and join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. In there we have PCP movie polls and all kinds of fun stuff. We share the latest news and the funniest memes about pop culture, I guess. You can also follow us on Instagram. That's where we're at too. Yeah, we don't really post there that much either. Anyway, we post on YouTube the most, to be honest with you. And in the PCP Army. So, yeah, and also we're on patreon.com/PCP. You can join these fine people right here as supporters of this channel. Or you can just watch it. Just watch us. You know, that's support enough. Anyway, thank you guys so much. And don't forget, you can find podcasts, blogs, written advanced reviews, and more at popculturephilosophers.com. I have a very exciting announcement. I mentioned it at the end of the Edge of Tomorrow movie review, and I do see that Fable is here. I think he'll be pleased with this. Friday night, for PCP Live movie night, we're talking about New Jack City. That's right. New Jack City by demand. It's been a long time since I've seen New Jack City. And so I did not include it in my top 5 Wesley Snipes thing from like a couple weeks ago. And yeah, I think I've learned my lesson. And we're definitely going to be watching it and reviewing it and talking about it live with you here Friday night, 8 p.m. Central Time. I also want to mention that Thursday night on the Everything Comics channel, we will be doing the live Best Comic Books of the Month YouTuber stream. It'll be me, Dylan, Hero and the Kid, Bob from Everything Comics, obviously it's on his channel, and Bueller from Comics with Bueller. We'll be there. I think that's 7 p.m. U.S. Central Time, Thursday night. We're going to have a grand old time talking about our favorite comic books of the month. I have a lot of fun on the monthly show with these fellas, and I'm very excited to do it again. We did just wrap up a battle draft, this time focusing on villains. We did the Legion of Doom battle draft on Bob's channel last Friday night. That was really, really fun. That's right, we did a double header on Friday with the battle draft at Everything Comics. Then we did the Edge of Tomorrow live movie review, and then on Saturday we did a 3-hour-long Teen Dog Shades night with guests, and had a lot of fun doing it. Anyway, how are you doing here? Once you get in here, let me know that you're here. I see some people already in here. Captain Radon, Billy, what's up? Fable, and of course, Herminio. Go Yankees, y'all. 2-1, 2-1. Man, that was a crazy game today. I'm glad I didn't give up on it. What's up, Eric? What's up, Ruben? What's up, Reggie? What's up, Eddie? Easy Reader. What's up, Atari? What's up, Bruce? Yeah, what's up, Samuel? How are you doing? Oh, Samuel, I don't think I was robbed. To be honest, you know, I really liked my Legion of Doom team. I thought it was a winner. You know, I really did. But winning's not the real winners are all of us that get to participate and view such a illustrious program on the Everything Comics channel. But no, I have a lot of fun with those. I did win the most rounds. Dylan won the overall vote, but it was like a 2-1 vote, okay? So like hardly anybody voted at the end. but I ain't going to be that guy. You know, it's not important to me to be the 3-time battle draft champion. It's not important. Right on. Gotcha. So it's not important to me, really. What's important is just spending time with those fellas because I have so much fun. But yeah, maybe I was robbed, to be honest. His Legion of Metal was pretty weak. I'm not trying to call Dylan out, but I'm going to tell you this. He had his leader as Red Hood. Okay? That's fine. That's fine. Whatever. All my personal feelings about that character aside. Who cares? Putting all that aside. Okay. I can dig it. And then he's got Joker on the team. Bro, you just instantaneously lost one of your members because the first thing Jason Todd's going to do is pop that dude in the head. 2 shots. Come on. Christ. Anyway. But he had the whole Legion of Metal thing. I'll tell you what. I want to edit his Legion of Metal. You can make a good Legion of Metal. He should have started with the Batman Who Laughs. That's what he should have done. Mm-hmm. And then he should have had Red Hood as one of the lieutenants in the Batman Who Laughs Legion of Metal. What exactly? A Bruce that will do what it takes to fix things, in a way, right? Bob, your ears must have been ringing. We were just talking about you. I was talking a little bit of smack about Dylan's Legion of Metal and how I would have fixed it. The biggest mistake, Red Hood's the leader and Joker's one of his people. Like, that's a big, like, first thing you would do is just kill the Joker or try to. I'm like, if you're going to do Legion of Metal, go full board. Have the Batman Who Laughs be the leader, and then have one of your lieutenants be Jason Todd. That, to me, would have been a winner. Legion of Metal. I was thinking, Bob, I was like, okay, so we basically did Marvel heroes, in a way, because we did Avengers, and then we did the X-Men, right? We did the X-Men, and we did, so we were like, okay. So we could do a Justice League, but what's the difference? Like, when we first started doing this with the X-Men stuff, it was a little bit more on there. But with the Legion of whatever. Oh, Bueller. Okay, you're right. I should let it go. I wasn't... If y'all go back up and just watch everything that I said that I had a lot of fun. And the real winner is all of us who get to participate and view this. That's all I'm saying. Anyway. I like the Legion of Metal idea. I just think he was a bit off. And I won the most rounds, and there were like only 3 votes for the overall vote. But I mean, I'm not complaining because Will won the most in the Avengers draft, but I won the overall, and I claimed victory for that. So I don't care. Let Dylan have it. He deserves it. Dylan deserves it. Legion of Metal, maybe like a metal band. Like, are we gonna draft a metal band? I was even thinking just regular Jason Todd. Could you imagine that? Like the betrayal that Bruce would feel if Jason aligned himself with the Batman Who Laughs, because to him that's a Bruce that's a little bit more along his lines of thinking, but I don't know. It wouldn't really work that way. Everybody's doing live streams all the time. That's all we do. It's damn live streams. Got to add Ghost Thrasher. I almost threw in Ghost Thrasher. He's not a villain. You just wait, though, Fable. I'll throw Ghost Thrasher in anytime I can. We're going to make that shit happen. If Donny Cates can make Cosmic Ghost Rider happen, we're going to get Ghost Thrasher. That's what I'm just saying. Bueller has a new scoring system. I think it's perfect. Okay. Sounds good. Well, thank you, Tyler. I appreciate that. And I noticed you didn't say anything about Bob's teams. I would say Bob brings the obvious ones. What Tyler said was Dylan always brings the raddest team. Bueller brings the most obscure. Will's is overpowered, and mine are the most thought out. And I think that Bob's are the most... And when I say... When I say obvious, I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that he's picking his favorites. Like, that's what he did last night. And he picked a really good Legion of Doom. But it's just sometimes we've learned that if you can have a pick that nobody else would think about or make someone go, oh, wow, like that would work. Like, for instance, I thought that would happen when I picked Michael Myers to be my assassin. and that failed. That was a total miscalculation on my part. I love Bueller's teams. They crack me up. I am disappointed he uses Sugar Man for twice, though. That's why I didn't use Doom in this one. Because I was like, I've already done it. Yeah, Dylan still does need to do a Teen Dog Shades night. Don't worry, he will. The whole reason why we did that show last night was because Dylan requested to be on a Teen Dog Shades night because he was super jealous of Bueller and Perry for getting to do one with me. So I was like, all right, Dylan, we're going to get you on one. Then Strickland wanted to join. And then I was talking to my buddy Kevin, and I was like, Kevin, you're my dude. He's my conspiracy dude. He's my UFOlogy guy. Like, if I want to know what's going on, if I want to have a crazy conversation about it, learn some craziness, I go talk to Kevin. So then I was like, well, let's bring in Kevin. Let's really blow their minds. And I had a lot of fun with it. Sucks that Dylan had to drop out at the last minute. But we'll get him on the next one. And then don't forget, comic book creators are wanting to do one now with me. I mean, obviously Kevin is one, but Liana Kangas wants to be on one. Justin Richards wants to be on one. And everybody keeps mentioning one name. And I got to reach out to him, but I've been kind of nervous to reach out to him about this. But Elliot Rahal is someone I really would like to get on a Teen Dog Shades night. Thank you, Fable. I thought Rita was a good pick, too. I was having a problem with the Chaos thing because, honestly, the only thing I could think of was the Joker. And I didn't want to do that. I thought that would be somebody else's ideas, and it was. So I was just thinking, like, wreaking havoc. I was focusing on that because that's what Bob said. They cause chaos, wreak havoc. And I was like, what kind of havoc would Rita Repulsa wreak on a world? You know, it didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, let's be honest. The Power Rangers are prepared for it. They got the giant Zords and shit. If that happened in Metropolis or Gotham, they'd be like kind of fucked for a second there. I'm just saying. And if it happened in Eternia, let me think about that. I like the Rita pick. I thought Maleficent was a good pick too. I almost went Gargamel, and I probably should have. But I wanted to have two ladies on the team this time. Bruce, the monthly review is this Thursday night. Bob can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Time, which would make it 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Let's just round it out with 6 p.m. Mountain. International fans, sorry, I don't know your time zones. I think Codpiece is the reason why I lost the comedy round with Clown. Clown was a really good pick for that one. Codpiece. Some shop yesterday was like, we just sold 20 copies of this random Doom Patrol issue. Let's check online and see what's going on with it. Did they just announce Codpiece for a movie? Oh, man. Well, Herminio, you can always catch it on the rewind. It sucks that you got to work, though. Those shows are good. All right, let's kick the show off officially with the first six. So, like we've been doing, well, we did it 1 week already. So, I'm showing off Marvel Universe Series 1 trading cards. Okay, so in the first six and the final 9 of like the Rockin Robbie Live 2 weeks ago, I showed the first 15 cards. So now we're going to the next 6. So let's do it. With card number 16, there is the Submariner. Gotta get the focus working. All right, Submariner. Then we have Hulk, and that's an Art Adams Hulk, which is really, really nifty. Thor. This is the very first Marvel Universe trading card set that had like new artwork and everything. Hey, we finally get Mr. Fantastic there. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. Black Panther. Hell yeah. I just love these. The white frames, they're simple. They got a lot of information on the back. For instance, they have a Did You Know? Did you know Mr. Fantastic's uniform is composed of unstable molecules which allow its change shape as it does? Yes, I did. Black Panther goes into Archangel. Love that one. I believe that's a Mark Bagley one. So that's the first 6 for tonight. We're continuing our look at the Marvel Universe Trading Card Series 1 from 1990. Hell yeah. Bueller had me laughing so hard with his picks. Hell yeah, Bob. Me too. I love that. Bueller says, first 6. We are changing ours to first 7 now. Okay. You'll run out of comics if we get into this battle. That's why I went to the trading cards for a while. I want to go through this trading card set because it's a cool thing to revisit. Plus, I was like, I'm tired trying to find unique, fun things to show off every week comic book-wise. It's a mess over there right now. I got a lot of cleaning to do. We plan on expanding the studio out and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, those OG cards are great. I got Series 1, 2, 3, and 4, and, of course, Marvel Masterpieces. You hear Jim Mint talk about them a lot. He's got them framed up in his studio, which is really, really nice. But those are the ones I really like and I love. I got the first 2 X-Men. I think I'm missing some on the second one. I had them back in the day, but I traded them for like a Marvel Universe Archangel action figure that was pretty expensive at the time, and then I opened it. But I was like, I can get those X-Men cards easy. And I got a Spider-Man set that I got to go through and get out. And I got a lot more cards. You guys have seen some. I got some that are still in just the box. I got a whole box, mostly unopened, of the DC cards, like the Cosmic cards or whatever. But those early 90s, mid-90s comic book cards and basketball and baseball cards, that was my jam. Yeah, the first X-Men cards are good. The second ones are good, too. The first ones were the one that were all Jim Lee, right? And then the second one, they had like Joe Quesada, Greg Capullo, the people that were doing the books at the time, X Factor, X Force, X-Men, Kuberts, all that. Anyway. All right. Upper Deck basketball and baseball. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Yeah, the Spider-Man set was one of my favorites. One of my favorites, too, is the Marvel Universe Series 4. I got them right here. Yeah, I love these ones because they make images. You know, when you put the 9 cards together, they make an image. And they're all kind of themed, and I thought that was super, super cool. And the Spider-Man set, which is done mostly by Bagley, kind of does the same thing. But yeah. And these Marvel trading cards are really fun because you get to revisit Marvel history. It's like a cosmic page. What's this page? That's like a cosmic page, and this is just characters they didn't know what to do with. This is like the Marvel UK stuff, yeah. Death's Head and Wild Thing, Motormouth, Techno Wizards. Wow. It was an initiative that didn't last too long at Marvel. I remember having those Wild Things books. I still have them, probably. Yeah, my entire card collection I had as a kid was stolen, except for the baseball cards because those were somewhere else. Oh, that sucks, Herminio. That really does. Hope everybody hits the thumbs up tonight. It really helps us out. We've got like 37 people in here, only 19 likes. So if you guys haven't liked the video yet, if you like it right now, that really helps out. And I would appreciate it. All right, first topic of the night. What was your favorite comic book of last week? What was your pick of the week? My pick of the week was Decorum, number 3. This was a tough pick for me. It was either going to be Decorum or it was going to be Canto. In hindsight, I think Canto is probably the better pick because anybody could just pick that up and read it and enjoy it. You may be a little bit lost if you just pick this up. But the craft, the level of craft in this book to me was beyond even the level of craft in Canto. Canto was a very resonating, powerful story that I loved so much. On so many levels it would work. It would work on just the basic story level. It works on a fable level. It works as a philosophical, deeper thinking kind of level. Decorum, though, has craft in it. In particular, the way that the story is displayed through the artwork and the coloring. So, this is all very, very intentional, okay? The monochromatic color palette, the very shy bits of color, right? So they're bringing forth these figures and the emotiveness of these figures. You see that the eye shot right there, and just look, that composition works so well. And this lady, for instance, is so lackadaisical, or right here, that's there. I'd be a terrible weatherman. This lady right there, she's breaking the panel, you see, because she doesn't care. She doesn't care about the rigid structure of this woman. So that's really cool. Then you have this idea of this map. Okay? So that's pretty cool. You can see that's like a subway map or a city map, one of those maps that's like kind of made to work a little bit. And as they're going through the planet, do you see the lines on the map showing up to show you where they're going? That's brilliant, right? And then look how the color starts becoming a little bit more extravagant in certain spots. It accentuates certain things. See that? And it gives anchors and weight to the page. And then it blows up into something like that, right? Okay? And then this. Like, beautiful. And the way that the story is told is amazing. And honestly, it's just kind of like a slightly irreverent, funny script attached to this particular issue. But the artwork takes it to the next level. And so that was my pick of the week. What was your pick of the week? Let's see here. Easy Reader said, The Man Who Effed Up Time. Really liked that one. I thought that was a good issue. Samuel says Kanto. Kanto was great. Zen Soundwave says Decorum. Everything Comics, Everything Bob. I'm going to say Everything Bob. That's going to be his second channel, Everything Bob. What about Bob? Kanto, of course, pick of the week for him, and great stuff. So Flo Jim says Decorum. Brian says, forgot to buy Kanto. Uh-oh. Here's the thing about Kanto. Copies were actually allocated. So they didn't, like, print enough, apparently, or something happened. I don't know if it's related to IDW struggles during the shutdown, but they didn't print enough issues, and so it was allocated. So, like, we barely got enough to cover subscribers at my shop, and I heard that was the case with many other shops. So it's going to wind up being just kind of like the first issue of Kanto, maybe a little bit difficult to find. And I'm sure they'll do a second print. Oh, yeah, trading cards for something. I don't remember what it was. Joker War. They're like playing cards, I think. Everything Comics says Decorum is a piece of art. Hell yeah, it is. Tyler says, love this book. No way they stop it at 8. Hickman must have something planned. Maybe, or maybe it's just an 8-part series. You know, some of his best work are just, I mean, and he's known for doing these really big, extravagant, elongated storylines and things like Fantastic Four, Avengers, and what he's doing with X-Men right now. This is definitely something long-term. And then his independent work like Manhattan Projects and East of West, which was like 45 issues of greatness. But some of his work that's really strong are just like 4-issue series. Pax Romana, Nightly News, just 6 issues. Pax Romana, just 4. So I think that it's also good for a creator to not just do those giant things. That if this is just 8, I think that's cool, and it will stand. And it could, maybe you shouldn't try to do this, but this is something that should happen, and you make an evergreen work, right? Something like Watchmen. Something like Dark Knight Returns, something like The Sandman, something like Saga, even in the modern day. These are books that stand the test of time, and that decades later people can still recommend them, and they just stay standards. And most of the evergreen graphic novels are in fact just like one graphic novel, one trade, one story, one hardcover, whatever. So I think this could be have great potential to be one of those books for Jonathan Hickman. And Mike Huddleston, who I don't think has ever done anything as outlandish as this, has ever stretched himself through innovation as much as he has in Decorum. And I mean, I've always liked his work, but this is this dude jumped levels. He went through he went through the platform, went through the background of the scene, grabbed the warp whistle, got 5 of them, and just blew all 5 at the same time and wound up on another level that nobody's ever been at as far as comic book artwork goes. John says Batman 95, really good. I'm loving it. Someone criticized me for liking the new Batman book, and that's okay. That's okay. You can feel the way you want to feel. I'm really liking it though. I think it's solid, and it's building up hype, and it's living up to its hype, and so it's a very fun water cooler type superhero comic book that most of us fanboys and girls like to hang out at the shop or go online or whatever and talk about these books. They're so much fun. Tyler says, though, I agree. Decorum, hands down. Yeah, great stuff. Some of the line and brushwork on Decorum was phenomenal. Yes, it was. X-Men Empire was pretty good, Samuel says. I laughed. Me too. I thought it was the best Empire tie-in, but it doesn't tie into Empire, but it is basically an X-Men book. So if you've been following Hickman's X-Men, it's set up like you're going to want to read this, 100%. Reggie's got a list. Power Rangers, Ranger Slayer, Decorum, Batgirl 47, Empire X-Men. Hell yeah. Some good picks. Eddie says Batman 95. Bruce says the free comic book day Venom story. Yeah, the Venom story was good. The Black Cat story, but the Venom story was dope. So what's going to be the first appearance? What's going to be the first appearance of this dude? Was it Virus? This book, the free comic book day was supposed to come out first. Fable says Decorum, Batgirl, Batman. Eric says Daredevil 21. Fable's like, oh yeah, Ranger Slayer. Ranger Slayer was good. I loved it. First appearances in Spider-Man free comic book. Yes, but Venom 26 technically came out first. How is this going to work? I guess the market will decide, whichever one becomes worth more. My guess, Venom 26. Because there's a lot of those free comic book day issues out there. And they're also free. Daredevil 21 was amazing. As much as I love DD, though, it didn't beat out Kanto this week. No, it doesn't, It doesn't have to every single time. But it was a great issue with a great cover, great artwork, and a great setup into where we're going. We're in a little bit of a lull because we just had this explosive finale, and we're dealing with the resolution of that and the start of the next bit of the story. And it was really good as far as the connective issue between the acts of the larger Zdarsky scope of story. What a weird way to say those things. Batman stuff's been really good. Yeah, Herminio, I agree. Yeah, Red Wing was 4 issues. I don't think it's one of his strongest, though. Transhumans, short. Red Mask for Mars. I think those books are okay. They're solid, but they're not his best work. I think he really hit a level with Nightly News and Pax Romana to start. Then he had some okay things. And then when he went to Marvel, I feel like he was reinvigorated and has done some great stuff since then. And then his Marvel work led into his other Image work, and then he started launching into Manhattan projects and East of West. And he's still got a lot of projects that are unfinished and projects that have been announced that we've never seen. Like, I'm still waiting for Feel Better Now. We're still waiting for Frontier. Now, we have no idea if that's ever even going to come out. But, when is Black Monday Murders coming back? When's Dying of the Dead coming back? Secret's another one that he did that was only like 7 or 8 issues, and it was really good, and it stands strong on its own. Hey, what's up, Perry? How you doing? Well, you finally made it through the MCU, Perry. What are you going to do now? You can watch every comic book movie ever made. Do that. Watch all the Superman ones, including the bad ones. People would love to see what you think of, like, Superman 4. It's a terrible film. I like the Black Cat story, but I love her, so I'm a bit biased. Okay, Herminio, it sounds like you're biased. It's a weird stretch. Hashtag weird stretch. Hashtag PCP Army. I know that nobody here probably watches Drag Race, but hell yeah, I agree with the winner of that. And if someone does and haven't watched it, I don't want to spoil it. But I picked that one from the beginning. I think we all did. Yeah, do all the DC movies, Perry. Go back. Do the Adam West Batman, do the Christopher Reeve Supermans, do all the Tim Burton and Schumacher Batmans, do it all. Same thing with the Marvel. Like, watch the old stupid Captain America movies and Doctor Strange and Nick Fury with David Hasselhoff. I think people would really be interested in seeing your reaction to... I'm interested in seeing your reaction to Nick Fury's David Hasselhoff. And I'll also give you a tip here. Our best movie revisit and analysis we ever did as far as performance, and it's not much, but for us it's kind of exceptional, is Spawn. So you should do Spawn. Even if you've seen it, just act like you haven't. Hey, what's up, Alex? Alex says, first time on the stream. What up? Everything's great. We're having a good time. We've been talking about our favorite comic books of last week. We're about to be taking a look at what's coming up in comic shops this week because we got some pretty solid books, including some Vault Comics. Very exciting. By the way, if you are into Vault Comics, if you heard me talk about Black Stars Above, it does read a lot better as a chunk of story. I read all 5 issues recently, like a month or two ago, and it flowed so much better than it did issue to issue for me. It was a great cosmic horror Lovecraftian type thing with a wilderness cold vibe to it, and I really liked it. And it comes out in trade paperback this week, so there you go, just so you know. I know, Brian, they're tough to go through, but that's what some of us YouTubers have to do. We got to go through terrible movies. For the most part, the PCP Army picks good movies for us. I had never seen Edge of Tomorrow, and then it won the poll in the PCP Army, so I had to watch it, and I'm glad I did. I really enjoyed that movie. I really, really did. So what is the first full appearance of Punchline? Tiny said Batman 92, but the virus messed up the release dates. Yeah, I know, man. That's what I'm saying. But other people are trying to say that it's Hell Arisen number 3. Some people think it's that. I guess the overall thing is this, is that the market determines what the first appearance is. Like, you can get technical and be like, no, I think technically first appearance is the first time a character appears on the page. That's me. So, for instance, I think the first appearance of Wolverine is Hulk 180. Okay, but the first full appearance, that's listed as cameo. First full is Hulk 181. That's the big money one. Okay, that's fine. The market will determine which one's more important. But to me, first appearance means the first time that character appears. And in the final 9, we're going to show this card. But I do want to show you something on the back. Where, look what Marvel themselves say the first appearance of Wolverine is. See that? You see what it says there? It says Incredible Hulk 180. Okay. But just because someone says, well, I disagree, and technically the first appearance, I'm making fun of myself because I say this. Technically the first appearance is 180, right? Okay, that's fine. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden people are going to spend more money on 180 than 181, but, whatever. So here's the thing. The one that's going to go up as far as Punchline goes is going to wind up being the one that's the most rare. And I think out of that, it's going to be Hell Arisen number 3 because that was way less ordered than Batman 92. So I 100% think that it's Hell Arisen 3 is going to be the one that, or even the 89, where she actually first shows up on a panel. So technically, by first appearance, it's 89, right? But Hell Arisen number 3 is going to be the one that's more rare. So that's the one that, as you see even right now, is worth more money. How long will people care about the character Punchline, though? We'll see. But DC knows the reaction. They know what's up. They're going to play this hype up and introduce her into the other media as soon as they can. Animation, film, video games, you name it. Yeah, Bruce, I got all 3 too. You might as well just cover all your bases, get all 3. Now, Amazing Spider-Man 299 is a trickier thing to me. No, it's not. Never mind. I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of the when he's just punching and you see the hand. But is that 299 or is that 298? That's 298, right? Where you see the hand punching. If it's not a full, if you don't not necessarily the entire body, but if it's just a hand, does that count? I don't know. Darkseid's first appearance is his head on a freaking monitor on one panel of Jimmy Olsen. I'm just going to say that. Alex says, I'm new to comics and really enjoy collecting and reading. What are your top 5 current runs? Ooh. Man. Top 5 current runs. This is basically the first 5 that I can come up with off the top of my head. Something is Killing the Children. Ice Cream Man. Gideon Falls. Once and Future. Let me throw a superhero one in there. Death Metal. Yeah, we'll say that. Only if she becomes as big as Harley. I don't know if she's going to be as big as Harley. We'll see. Harley's a whole other animal, you know? And that's why I'm liking Punchline, is because Punchline's different than Harley. She's vicious. She's scary. This is what I've always wanted Harley to be, because to me, Harley was always meant to kind of kidify the Joker from the animated series, and she's just kind of goofy, Deadpool-y type character to me. That doesn't always necessarily appeal to me. But Punchline, she could have a stronger origin, to be honest, and maybe there's more backstory there that will be developed by Tynion, and that would be cool. Aside from that, though, her actions and the way she's portrayed, so far I'm kind of into it. I even like the costume, and the makeup it kind of reminds me of the Joaquin Phoenix Joker makeup. Just a wee bit. Yeah, at the end of 299, I remember that now. He shows up at the very end, full form. Oh, yeah, 299's first Venom, right? But 300 is going to be the one that's worth more. And no technicality is going to change that. It's the Gambit, same thing with Gambit. Is it an X-Men annual or there's like an annual. It's like an X-Men 14 annual or something that's like technically the first Gambit. And what's the first appearance of the black costume Spider-Man? That's a whole can of worms. Hey, what's up, Discovery Bay Comics? How you doing? Herminio says, I was stiffed for Hell Arisen number 3 by my old LCS guy. Well, I'm glad you said old LCS guy, because that's not freaking cool at all. There was so much hype. So many people were calling my shop the days leading up to its release. But subscribers, if they get it first, that's just the right thing to do. You subscribe to a book, we pretty much guarantee it, man. If something happens, even if Diamond screws up, even if it's not our fault, if Diamond screws up, we'll go online and buy it, and still charge just cover for our subscribers if we wind up missing something. That's why the Diamond shortages kind of get on your nerves. They can't replenish them because, well, now we got to go buy this and pay for shipping and blah blah blah. But it doesn't matter because we take care of the customers. That's the idea. I have read Stealth, Ganja Bar B. And I'm enjoying it so far. I really like the artwork. It's nice to see him back. He was the artist on Nowhere Men. He kind of had a mental breakdown and had to leave. And then they brought in a new artist on Nowhere Men. And then it never still hasn't finished its second arc. That's what happens when the publisher is the writer. You know? Eric Stevenson. Nowhere Men's a great comic book. I just really wish it would come back, because I would talk about it more often. But yeah, I like Stealth. I think it's a cool, fun story, and I'm enjoying it so far. I think it's got action, it's got adventure, it's straight what you need from a comic book, and it's got some really nice dramatic themes in it with a father-son dynamic. Yep, Joker 80th is the origin, but it could be stronger. And that came out the same day as 92. Two Gun Pedros in the house, pew pew, with the finger guns. Team Punchline, hell yeah, I'm enjoying Punchline. You know we're going to get a mini-series soon, though. She's probably going to get her own series, and that's when the character could be in danger of being diluted. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Harley in Suicide Squad is exactly as she should be. Talking about the comic book, see, I only read the first issue of the Tom Taylor run. Issue 7 comes out this week, so I may try to snatch up 1 through 6 and read them tomorrow so I can get caught up. Because I keep hearing good things, and I do like Tom Taylor. S Square, got my Superman Batman Omnibus. Yes, I saw that. I saw that in the PCP Army. Hell yeah, brother. That's fun stuff. I really like the first arc. The second arc's not my favorite, but it kind of goes up and down, but it's a fun read. I really like it. My favorite, though, is the first arc, Public Enemies, which has a pretty decent animated film that they did on it. Pretty decent. Even though technically it's kind of like the capstone of the Loeb Superman run in a way. Sleepy Reader, what's up, my man? How are you doing? The only reason first appearances have any importance to me is their importance to others, their effect on comic prices. Yeah. Damn, I can't get that one now. What's up, Brett? How are you doing? Oh, Ganja Barbie, that twist at the end of the first issue of Stealth was great and completely sold me on the book. Hey, what's up, God Tank? Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed the show last night. Always love a good Teen Dog Shades night. And having Kevin on there is always going to be a trip, because I was not lying when I said that, you know, he is the Eddie Bravo to my Joe Rogan. He's my conspiracy dude. He's got a lot of cool ideas to explore that out into some of his work too. But had a lot of fun, man. Talked a lot about UFOs, but we talked more about like dreams, and I'm surprised how much we talked about the essence of good and evil. Like, for real. But that's what a Teen Dog Shades night's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be like, I mean, it's literally what we talk about when we're just all hanging out like that. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for enjoying it and shouting it out. What's up, C3? How are you doing? Remember before Punchline when there was a comic called Punchline? Antarctic Press is like, thanks, DC. Yeah. DC's going to have to give them a check, right? Probably if they want to be able to publish a Punchline book. I don't know about all that. I'll have to see. All right, let's take a look at what's coming up in comic shops this week, everybody. Some good ones, I'm certain. We'll start off with Dark Horse Comics. Now, of course, if you really want to get the lowdown as early as possible on what's coming out next week, you should always check out Bueller's video that he releases every Wednesday talking about the new comic books and showing the covers of the new comic books coming out the following Wednesday. So this Wednesday, July 29th, when these books hit shelves, you can go over to the Comics with Bueller channel and check out his video showing you the covers of what's coming out next week and start getting your list together. I would, in fact, just play and comment on that video during this segment, but I think it would be too long. From Dark Horse, what do we have? Okay, we got a Stranger Things graphic novel, The Bully. That's cool. That's cool. We also get the third trade paperback. We get the World of Cyberpunk 2077 deluxe hardcover. Yep. That's about it. There's not really a lot from Dark Horse. They're slowly getting back into it. Slowly. Oh, here's a good one. From IDW, we have the final issue of Kill Lock. Kill Lock number 6 is out this week. Marvel Action Spider-Man number 3. Pandemica number 5, the final issue. It's weird that the final issue of Pandemica is finally coming out because the trade paperback's already come out. Sleeping Beauties number 2, based on the Stephen King Owen King book. The TMNT Annual for 2020 is out this week. And issue 107 of the ongoing series. And Usagi Yojimbo Color Classics number 5. And now I see where it reads of 7, which that pisses me off. But basically that's the first trade paperback. I hope they do more. I know that they plan on coloring everything. They may just at this point jump to graphic novels, but maybe they'll have like a volume 2 or something. That would be cool. We have anything from Dynamite. From Dynamite, we have The Boys, Dear Becky, number 3. Deja Thoris, number 6. Those look like they're just special edition covers. James Bond, number 6. Red Sonja, Vampirella, Betty, and Veronica, number 12. Do y'all know that I hate going through the Dynamite list because there's so many damn covers and there's so many of their characters that cross over that like it's hard to know. Vampirella Red Sonja number 9, I believe that's out this week. Yeah, that was easy. That was easy. I made that a bigger deal than it actually is. From Boom Studios, we have the Bill and Ted Omnibus, all the Bill and Ted books that Boom did when they had the license, like Bill and Ted's Triumphant Return and all that, are going to be collected in a paperback omnibus. I got mine already ordered. They also have an omnibus of the Marvel stuff from back in the day. I have that as well. Firefly number 18 is out this week. Ghosted in LA returns with issue number 11, and now we know that book is ending at issue number 12. That sucks, but still. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 52. The foil cover this time is the Lord Draken cover. That's super cool. Yeah. And that's Boom Studios. From some other publishers, we have Archie 713. We have Ash and Thorn number 3. We have Blade Runner 2019 number 8. Bleed Them Dry number 2 from Vault Comics. Dark Ark After the Flood number 5. Dr. Tomorrow number 4. God Killers number 4. Grit number 1 from Scout Comics. I actually read this earlier today, and it was really cool. If you like violent, quirky, fantasy work that is not taking itself uber seriously and has a lot of fun with some grotesque violence and humor, Grit is for you. It's a Scout book, so it's not going to be as widely available, but definitely check it out. Heathen number 11 from Vault Comics. That is a fantastic book. If you've never read Heathen, you really, really should. It's one of Vault's best and has been since pretty much the beginning of Vault. Rogue Planet number 3, Savage Bastards number 4, Shadow Roads number 9, and White Ash number 5. That's from some of the smaller publishers. Now let's go over to Image. Image has Ascender number 11, Black Magic number 12, Dead Body Road, Bad Blood number 2, Lost Soldiers number 1, Mercy number 4, Nailbiter Returns number 3, Pulp, the graphic novel hardcover by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. Very excited for that one. Spawn 308, still not caught up. God damn it. I need to get caught up on Spawn. That Texas Blood number 2. Hell yeah. Yeah, very nice. And a 25th anniversary edition of Witchblade number 1. Pretty neat. And a hardcover version of Walking Dead Alien. In case you got the hardcovers and you want to add it to that collection so you can have everything. Let's take a look at Marvel Comics now. From Marvel Comics, we have Amazing Spider-Man 45. That starts the Sin Eater story, I believe. Joy. Let's get a new writer in. I know Matthew Rosenberg's like joining the team, but I think he's just to do those alternating point issues. Cable finally returns. Cable issue number 2 is out this week. Captain Marvel number 18 with an Empire tie-in. Empire number 3 is out this week. Empire Captain America number 1 is a 3-issue series tie-in. Empire Savage Avengers number 1 is a one-shot tie-in. Iron Man 2020 number 5, the penultimate issue, and I'm not reading it. I'm done. I'm just going to wait till Cantwell comes in on Iron Man and start fresh. Spider-Man Noir number 2, hell yeah. Juan Ferreira's artwork's going to be fire. Star Wars Darth Vader number 3. Got some Star Wars books coming back in. Symbiote Spider-Man Alien Reality number 5. Final issue. X Factor number 1. Long delayed debut of a brand new Dawn of X book. Just in time for the Sunset of X. X-Men number 10 is out this week. It's an Empire tie-in and maybe even tie-in in. Who knows? But that Empire tie-in of X-Men from last week was really good. And from DC Comics, we have Batman Superman number 10. The DC Cybernetics Summer Special. It's one of those $10, like 80-page special giants with a lot of talented creators doing some short little stories. Hellblazer number 8, Legion of Superheroes number 7, Plunge number 5, Red Hood Outlaw 47, Suicide Squad number 7, and Wonder Woman 759. It's a pretty solid week. Maybe not the best we've had in the last few, but a pretty solid week nonetheless. Pulp is a highlight. I'm excited. My only regret is that I don't think I'll have the time to read it in order for the weekly comic book review. And then that's what I do Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, I do the top 10. And then I got the stream on Thursday night. And then I got a stream on Friday. I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to read it and do a review. Maybe I should just try to plow through. Maybe I'll cut the fat this time. Iron Man 2020, you're done. You're gone. You know? All in service of being able to read Pulp and review it. Because it could be pick of the week worthy. 100%. I mean, when Brubaker and Phillips are together, it's magic. Everything Comics says, I got Pulp on pre-order as soon as it was solicited. Hell yeah. Yeah, I might have to get that new color Walking Dead. Yep, that's how they get you. I'm thinking about the color Walking Dead too. Yeah, I think it could be cool. They're going to really milk this one, though. Now they got variant covers as well. I will definitely, though, enjoy rereading it and reliving it in color. But I actually never finished. I never read the, probably like the last 40 issues or so. Hamburger Basket, talking about Savage Dragon 250. OMG, I have not read Savage Dragon since issue number 10. What changes? 2 other dragons, to say the least. Yeah, I have. You made it further than I did. I only read the first few of that. No, William. Plunge has 1 more issue after this one, so 6. Is this Mariko's first issue of Wonder Woman? Okay, well, I'll check it out. Damn it. Yep, Sean Phillips' son is on Texas Blood, so they both have books out this week. I thought about reading Savage Dragon 250, but it was so damn big, and I was like, I'm going to be so freaking lost. So I didn't. Hotel 3 was amazing. Can you talk about it? Yeah, I loved Hotel 3. I'm loving Hotel. John Lees is a great horror writer. He's a great horror anthology writer and tying something together into an overall story. And that's what's going on with this book. It's a 4-room hotel on Route 66, and all kinds of people from all walks of life show up and terrible things happen to them. So each issue is focused on a different room. It's been a different story, yet they all overlap each other, and that's really interesting. And then there's something about the mystery of what's going on with this hotel manager dude. But yeah, I'm loving it. Only 1 issue left to go. That kind of sucks, but I'd love to see if it comes back and maybe does like a volume 2 and has 4 more stories, 4 more rooms. And it's a great setup if it ever wanted to get picked up for a TV show. It's a great setup for it. Looking forward to that Texas Blood. Me too. Issue 1 was really, really good. It had the unfortunateness to come out, I think, the day Death Metal number 1 did. So maybe it didn't. I don't remember. It gives me Coen Brothers vibes. Joe's Slag says, my pick of the week was Power Rangers, Ranger Slayer, Wolverine, and Daredevil, and Batman 95. Great picks. Hotel is like next level Ice Cream Man, says C3 Comics. I think it's similar in the ways of its approach to the anthology story. I think the Ice Cream Man's got next level art and is a bit better than Hotel. But Hotel has Ice Cream Man, I should rather say, has the benefit of being a little bit more of a longer form story. Well, Sean Phillips isn't the artist on that Texas Blood. It's his son, Jason Phillips, I believe. But he does nail it. Shouldn't Google image searches. Kevin, who was on the show last night, he's a friend of mine who's a comic book artist, and many times I've been into his studio, and one time I remember he was working on a Pathfinder book for Dynamite or something, and he had all these like tabs pulled up of camels and shit. He's like, man, you never think you have to draw a camel. Yeah, crossover seems really neat. They said that some not Marvel, but some Image characters are going to be in it. And no Marvel or DC characters will be in it, but avatars of them will be in there. So that's interesting. You can jump into Ranger Slayer and enjoy that story for what it is. It's not really going to tell you too much about what's going on currently in Power Rangers, but it will let you know who the Ranger Slayer is, what world she comes from, and introduce you to the idea of this alternate timeline, which is kind of like a Days of Future Past. The way that is to the X-Men is kind of what the Lord Draken Ranger Slayer is. But you can start there and read it, but to get the most enjoyment out of Power Rangers, I think you should start from the beginning. Or at least with Shattered Grid. I mean, ideally, I guess you could read Shattered Grid and then Necessary Evil, and that would be cool. But the stuff that came before Shattered Grid that built up to it's pretty cool, in my opinion. But it's the Necessary Evil is where, to me, that book went next level. I think it's a good thing for Power Rangers fans at first, and even through Shattered Grid. But I think in Necessary Evil, when Ryan Parrott took over the book, Mighty Morphin, he was already doing Go. I think it kind of went to the next level of just being a great overall superhero book. I don't know, Eric. I've tried to check out Xenoscope stuff before, and it's just never appealed to me. I may check out something, though. I am interested in the Van Helsing character. Any of the horror stuff they do always piques my interest. But then sometimes, you can't help but notice some of their covers. All right, y'all, we're about to take a short break, but when we come back in segment 2, we got Marvel in the 90s, and we're going to talk about the Eisner Award winners. We'll be right back here on Rockin' Robbie Live. Welcome back, everybody, to Rockin Robbie Live here on Pop Culture Philosophers. I am your host, Rockin Robbie Billups. Tonight, we've been talking about comic books. We talked about our favorite comic books of last week. We talked about what's coming up this upcoming week in comic shops. And now we have another segment, and we're going to have a lot of fun. This show is driven by your thoughts, your concerns, your comments, your questions, so get them in right now, and let's fuel this show for another little bit longer. You can check us out at patreon.com/PCP, where you can help support this channel like these fine patriots right here. You can also support just by watching, liking, subscribing, sharing, super chats, all that stuff and more. But just being here, participating in a live stream is some of the biggest support you give us. So we really, really appreciate it. You can find podcasts and more at popculturephilosophers.com. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, you might as well join the PCP Army. It's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. Your chance to interact with me and other members of the excitable PCP crew and members of the PCP family. And if you want to, you can follow me on Twitter at @TheRockinRobbie. There you go. Coming up this week on the channel, we have the weekly comic book review Tuesday night. Thursday morning, we have the top 10 comic books of the week. Thursday night, I will be on the Everything Comics channel for the monthly live stream. Me, Bueller, Bob from Everything Comics, Dylan from Dylan's Comics, and Hero and the Kid, talking about our favorite comic books of the month. Or I don't know if Hero and the Kid's on that show, actually. Could be lying. Anyway, so that's all fun. This upcoming Friday night, by popular demand, we're doing a live PCP movie night review and discussion of New Jack City. And we're very excited to revisit this movie this week. And then in the week following, we finish off Action Fest with a look at the Bourne movies. But New Jack City is this week. So that's what's going on here at PCP. And we have a lot of fun. Hey, Jim Mint's in the house. What's up? Look at Jim Mint. Thoughts on Tom King. All right, then. Let me gather my thoughts here. Hey, Derek Magnus, what's up? He's in the house with the super chat. That's right. Thank you, my man. Thank you for the super chat, Derek. We really do appreciate it here at PCP, helping upgrade the studio. We got some plans. Thank you for helping us achieve them. So, Joker Video likes to break the encoding. Okay. I had a feeling Tom King would get brought up tonight. Of course, it's by old Jim himself, Jim Mint. Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to see how to word this. Okay. Tom King in recent weeks has really kind of like annoyed me. Okay. So, and here's the other thing I do want to say first to clarify is that I separate art from artists. So I can like someone's work and not like them as a person. Okay. Tom King, the big thing that happened is that Tom King went completely in outrage mode on Twitter about DC commissioning Jay Lee to do a variant cover for Rorschach #1. And apparently Jay Lee has been commissioned to do covers for books that are associated with Comicsgate. So therefore he assumed that Jay Lee had an association with Comicsgate, and he put him on blast on Twitter. Jay Lee doesn't really have a social media presence. Like, he does, but he's not on it. And come to find out, Jay Lee had no idea what comic books, like what Comicsgate was even about or what it was or anything like that. He's just an artist taking gigs. And he apparently his dog had just died. Loki, I believe. And this all happened that same day. And then Tom King, I remember seeing this reported on Bleeding Cool, and Rich Johnston. Actually, I saw it on Twitter first. I saw Tom King's tweet. And then Rich Johnston from Bleeding Cool had said, "Yo, I've reached out to Jay Lee. He doesn't know anything about Comicsgate. That's not on his radar." And Tom King was getting all these people like, "Yeah, you're blah blah blah," and he was like, "I'm very disappointed in DC." And blah, 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 blah. Come to find out, Jay Lee's no association with Comicsgate. So no matter what you think about Comicsgate or anything like that, that's not the point. The point is Tom King just made an assumption, went on Twitter, put this dude on blast on one of the worst days of his adult life, the passing of his beloved dog Loki. And then he had to deal with all this and the fallout. And then Tom King comes out and is like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I spoke to Jay Lee and we're all good." And then Jay Lee, who doesn't really post a lot, posted, "No, we're not all good. You ruined my weekend. This was already a terrible weekend. I didn't get to properly mourn the passing of my dog because I had to deal with all this shit." And that's completely bullshit to me. And the thing is, you got to be careful judging things. You know what I'm saying? Making general judgments on things, people, beliefs, it never leads to a good area. And we live in this world now where, and I'm not very much active on Twitter anymore. And one of the reasons why is because all it seems to be is people wanting to be like pissed off about something, and having people like get on their side. And I've been spending some time. I spent a lot of time during all this COVID stuff, like learning about like what social media does to people and what it does to their mental state, and basically the same way with like beer or a nicotine shot, or whatever your drug of choice is. We all have one, at least one. It gives you like that shot of dopamine, right? And all that kind of stuff, right? Well, social media does the same thing. When you post something on social media and you start getting likes and comments and people start responding to it, like it activates the same shit in your brain that gets you high. You know what I'm saying? Like it activates the same pleasure centers of your brain after you get laid or something. Like it's like that's how powerful it is. We're talking about like drug level, sex level. We're talking about like, so people get addicted to that shit. And so people, I think, have jumped onto this bandwagon of this outrage, right? And just being pissed off or being trolly even. On the flip side of it, you're either, seems like half of Twitter is either people trolling or people fucking being outraged about the trolls, And so like, where's the room in the middle for a discussion? Here's what I think should have happened. If Tom King saw this cover and say he doesn't like what he generalizes as what Comicsgate is or whatever, and he's bothered by Jay Lee being on this cover, this is what he should have done. He should have talked to DC. He should have talked to Jay Lee. All this could have been avoided. Because now, at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, who looks like the asshole? Because it's not Jay Lee. It's Tom King. So, this made Tom King look like a big asshole. You can always go on about that, the phrase, what happens when you assume you make an ass out of you and me, but Tom King just made an ass out of himself in this case. And then did the same thing like a few weeks ago where somebody had said something like, somebody was saying something like, it's so weird because they were like, Superman wouldn't be allowed to say the American truth, justice, and the American way. And then Tom King was like, I just wrote that in a comic book, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, it's like, and this is what I think is happening, is that people get addicted to those likes, to those shares, to those follows. This is a real documented thing, man. You can read the science behind this shit. It's real. And I think people get either become trolls or they become outraged because that's what gets them recognition and that dopamine hit. But that's what I think. Twitter's a dangerous place for professionals. Well, you're a wise man, Damien. All I ever post on Twitter is talking about like what comic books I like and like movies and shit like that. I made the mistake one time of voicing displeasure of Joe Biden on there, and And y'all, I don't get political, but like I'm not a fan of either Trump or Biden. And I made that known, and I had a lot of people kind of come at me and be like, "Well, you're the problem, blah 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 blah." I'm like, "Whoa, bro, like my ideas and my thoughts and my reasons, just like everybody else, are way more nuanced than you think, cuz to everybody in everybody's reality tunnel, we're all just characters in their movie. You know what I'm saying? So they just attribute to us characteristics the way that we do if we're watching a movie or reading a comic book. You get what I'm saying? So you don't know what's going through somebody else's world or their head or their reasoning why they're doing something. Tom King had no idea and no right to cast that much harshness onto Jay Lee. And the problem is that the beast that is social media and Twitter in particular too, as far as this goes, is the idea that it caught on so quick, and people could lose their careers and their families over some stuff being misconstrued and misrepresented. So I'm glad it kind of got out there that Tom King was being a complete dick about that. That being said, Strange Adventures is amazing. I'm loving it. Mr. Miracle's amazing, and I'm loving it. I love Tom King's work for the most part. But sometimes I wish these guys would have professional Twitter accounts and I wouldn't have to be involved in some of their personal stuff. I try to stay as apolitical as possible because I'll be honest with you, I think you can pick this up on last night's Teen Dog Shades night. I don't trust shit. I don't believe anybody. I don't trust anybody up there. Hell no. People are like, oh, we need to break the two-party system, have 3. Nah, we need like 10 fucking parties. We need like as many perspectives as possible, because that's the only way we're going to grow. Ugh. But that's what I think about that. Jim says, I agree about separating art from the person because I'm trying to read Strange Adventures in Rorschach. Yes. And I do that. Maybe like, okay, so like, can I not like Chinatown or Rosemary's Baby or The Ninth Gate because Roman Polanski is like a rapist douchebag, right? That's weird. Some people would say, yes, we got to cancel this guy. We can't ever, we can't watch those movies. We can't talk about them in a positive light. I'm like, but that's art. You know how much art was made by shitty people? Don't look too deep into Led Zeppelin or Kiss, homies. If you like rock music of the 70s, don't look too deeply into some of that stuff. Don't look too deeply into Stan Lee's past and history. Don't look too deeply in those old school comic book G's, those OGs that we always like lift up on pedestals. There you go. Polanski is definitely an extreme example compared to like the accusations against Jay Lee by Tom King. I was just trying to say like I separate the art a little bit. I think that's the way you have to do it. Most creators are douchebags, even me. Oh yeah, like Dan Slott does come across as a complete jerk on Twitter. He does. He does. I love his Superior Spider-Man run. And the worldwide Spider-Man era, like though, like basically his final acts, like I think those are super, super solid. The first bits, Spider Island and all that shit, like it's okay. Well, but you're right, though. Polanski is a very extreme example. But I was trying to go extreme to be like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's a weird thing. We can't erase things. And sometimes I feel like that's what this whole cancel culture thing is it's trying to erase things. You can't erase things. Things will exist in time, and we can learn from them. Like, I love the idea that, like, Looney Tunes, for instance, doesn't like edit the majority of their cartoons apparently on their streaming service. I guess are they on HBO Max? Right? Because that's Warner Brothers. But they put like a thing in the beginning, being like this cartoon, this animated short, is pretty freaking racist, and it was then, and it is now, and it wasn't cool then, and it's not cool now. But we're not going to, we don't feel it's good for our society to ignore that this existed. And I kind of like that framing of it, because just because you're watching a racist Looney Tunes cartoon doesn't mean that you're like, hell yeah, like I'm in support of that stereotype. No, you're acknowledging its place in history and how wrong it was then and how we've kind of grown beyond that now, hopefully. Jim is trying to get in on Teen Dog Shades shit. Jim, we're going to have to get you on a Teen Dog Shades night if you really want to get into it. But do I think aliens have art and music like humans do? 100%. But here's the big thing. I don't necessarily think it's like humans because what I think it's kind of preposterous to even think that aliens would be like us. That was I love Star Trek. I love Star Trek, y'all. But it always bothers me that their aliens just look like dudes. Just us. Do you know what I'm saying? That kind of bothers me. And so, like, we're carbon-based life, right? What if it's based on something else, like photons? What? What if it's, like, silicon-based? Like, what if it's, like, something completely different? I don't mean just, like, ape people or lizard people or anything like that. Like electromagnetic life based in, like, some kind of... It's like, you get what I'm saying? Like, who knows? So who knows what the music and the art would be like on an alien civilization? Maybe. I mean, I think music is still going to be the same. Do you get the idea like that there are notes and octaves, but they would be creating those in such different ways? That'd be very interesting. That's why I like sci-fi that at times kind of delves into stuff like that. There have been some Doctor Who episodes that I can kind of recall, but like even Fifth Element, the way that the opera singer is singing or whatever, that's just super, super cool. Y'all heard it right here. Jim said he's down for a Teen Dog Shades night. We're going to have to get that together. It'd be super fun. All you need is shades. All you need is shades. Star Trek covered all those types of life forms, noob. Yeah, mostly in these damn things right here, David Hatch. I'm just talking about if you watch Star Trek, the majority of the time, the aliens look just like humans. And you can't say that I'm not speaking truth, David, though I appreciate you being here, man. How you doing? I don't put up with shit from David anymore. I've let him rule my life too much. I'm just kidding. Don't talk about lizard people? I was just using it as an example. I was mostly talking about, like, the Gorn. I wonder if aliens had a grunge phase. Here's the crazy thing. Do you think aliens listen to our music? How far have our radio waves gotten? Do you think they listen to our music? You think someone's going to find Voyager one day and find that record and play some music? It's got a bunch of classical music on there, and it's got modern music on there, too. Well, modern for, the 70s or whatever. What if their music was whack? What if you, like, you get to, like, you're, like, it's like the end of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and you're the one picked to go and study with this ancient alien civilization out in space, and you get there, and you're just like, this music fucking sucks. Like, it's just... That'd be terrible. And their food, Alien music sounds cool. I mean, like, we always have this, like, romantic idea that it would be this beautiful, luxurious thing that we've never heard or experienced before. What if it was just terrible? Just like the equivalent of, like, banging pots on a pan with Red Man speaking backwards. Like, what is this? That'd actually probably be good. I'd probably buy that album. What if you get there and it's just like Pink Floyd shit? Like, that would be the trip for me. Like, that's why I love about the Bill and Ted movies. Bill and Ted's been on my mind recently. Last week I had Chris Matheson on the channel, and if you haven't checked out that show, we get pretty deep on religion at first because his newest book is about Buddhism. But then we do talk a little bit about Bill and Ted, and I wish I would have talked to him longer about that. That was my mistake. But Bill and Ted's been on my mind. And one of my favorite things about that, it's not aliens, but when they go into the future and, like, their music is their music, it just cracks me up. What if you go out into space and it's all, like, fucking Poison and Motley Crue? Do Do you think they have an East Coast, West Coast rap war like we did in the 90s? Yeah, aliens might. Andromeda Galaxy versus, the Sirius system. I don't know. Something like that. Hey, what's up, Comic Book Therapy? Hey, Robbie, recommend Wonder Woman reads. Oh, okay. I already did a top 5 Wonder Woman comics. No, I didn't. I need to do that. I could totally imagine going off into space. I'll tell you what. If I was launching into space, you know how intense that's got to be, right? Like all the G-forces and just being like brr and shaking. If I was being launched into space, I'd want to hear Kickstart My Heart. That sounds like that would just be so badass to be like firing off like super fast into space listening to Kickstart My Heart. Off the top of my dome, Wonder Woman stories. The original George Perez stuff from the 80s is pretty solid. John Byrne stuff's okay. The Greg Rucka stuff is really good, especially I think his first stuff is really good, but his Rebirth stuff's pretty good too. And my favorite is Brian Azzarello, Cliff Chang from the New 52. That's my favorite Wonder Woman run. Those are the ones off the top of my head that I would recommend the most. Greg Rucka, run 1 and run 2. He had a pre-Flashpoint run, then he had a New 50, and then he had a Rebirth run. And then my favorite's the New 52, Brian Azzarello, Cliff Chang run. And then the 80s stuff, post-Crisis, by George Perez, and even into some of the John Byrne stuff that came later. It's pretty solid. I don't think we've gone too far into Team Dog Shades territory. Talking about how much of a douchebag Tom King made himself out to be. Still like his work. But you see this a lot on all sides of everything. If people just making assumptions, getting out there. Oh, yeah. Bob, thank you for correcting me there. How can I not recommend Dead Earth right now? Wonder Woman Dead Earth, the DC Black Label book. It's not set in a DC Universe continuity, but it's super solid, and it is one of the best Wonder Woman books out there. All right, well, we've talked about Tom King. So we've gotten that out of the way. Thank you, Jim. But, y'all, it's time for something I'm very excited. It's time for the return of Marvel in the 90s. And today we're talking about the new Fantastic Four. Dun, dun, dun. So the new Fantastic Four is basically a 3-issue story from Fantastic Four Volume 1, 347, 348, and 349. This is where the new Fantastic Four first started, comprising themselves of Hulk, Wolverine, Ghost Rider, and Spider-Man. A lot of people read this book. At the time, Walt Simonson was doing an amazing run on Fantastic Four. But the sales weren't quite there. This really helped increase those sales. Both issues 347 and 348 went into second printings. And Art Adams came in on the artwork. The story involves Delilah, who is a Skrull. She crash lands on Earth. Then the Skrulls are obviously now coming after her. It turns out that she is a rebel to the Empire, and she has crash landed on Earth to try to find this ancient weapon, Skrull technology, that's been buried on Earth in the form of an egg in some location. Using technology, the Skrulls locate the source of... They're trying to find Delilah, but they also find multiple Skrull sources on Monster Isle. Turns out that the monsters on Monster Island actually share a lot of the same traits as Skrulls. So they wind up on Monster Island, which of course leads us to the Mole Man. So now you got the Mole Man involved. So you got the Skrulls going after a rebel on Earth, on Monster Island now, and the Mole Man gets involved. And look at that beautiful Art Adams artwork. Fire. Look at the detail on that nasty-ass Mole Man. All right. So Delilah gets into Four Freedoms Plaza, because at this time there was no Baxter Building. It was Four Freedoms Plaza. That's how it was when I pretty much first started reading Fantastic Four. And she starts impersonating certain characters that Fantastic Four members have attachments to and knocks them out. She's able to do this because she's a slight empath and telepath, as well as a Skrull shapeshifter. So then she sends out a telepathic call to the certain heroes that would fit certain roles, I guess. But answering the call is Spider-Man, the Hulk, who is gray at this time, as you'll notice, and Wolverine. And the fourth member, Ghost Rider. This was the first time I ever read a comic book with Ghost Rider, and it blew me away. I loved it so much. Look at that dynamic panel work and perspective from Art Adams. So she is now impersonating Susan Storm, and she is pretending like she went out shopping and came home, and Skrulls had killed the Fantastic Four. So she convinces Hulk, Spidey, Wolvie, and Ghost Rider that the Fantastic Four are dead, and they have to avenge their deaths. And she uses her telepathy to give them a bloodlust for the Skrulls. So thus the new Fantastic Four are formed. Once again, look at that beautiful Art Adams artwork. Wolverine's got some crazy thighs. They kind of all do, don't they? Meanwhile, she reactivates Reed Richards, and she uses his scientific know-how while entrancing him with her telepathy. What? Telepathy? And she's doing that, and she needs his help, right? So the new Fantastic Four go out, and they're trying to find these Skrull vibrations through this technology. It brings them across these monsters. I'm just showing you this because that Art Adams artwork. I remember being a kid reading this stuff and absolutely loving it. The way that the new Fantastic Four worked together, they were already four of Marvel's most popular characters of the time. But the way their personalities clashed against one another and the new mystery of who Ghost Rider is was absolutely a slam bang, slam dunk. Slam bang, slam dunk? Anyway, this leads them to Monster Island, where they come up against the Mole Man and make a slight truce with him. Then they run into the Skrulls, and y'all, this was the first time I ever saw the pennant stare of Ghost Rider, and it's always been emblazoned in my mind. So then Delilah shows up with Reed Richards, and there's the egg right there about to hatch. It has this, technological life form that's going to imprint on the first person that it comes in contact with, and it's an unstoppable force. So what happens is the Skrulls want it, Delilah wants it, and of course now the Mole Man wants it. Meanwhile, the Fantastic Four, locked away in Four Freedoms Plaza, are rescued by Franklin. Go Franklin. Without his powers at this time. Oh, and you'll also notice that Ben Grimm is not the Thing right now. He actually wore a suit. He was human, wore a Thing suit. That is Sharon Ventura as the She-Thing. And that's Alicia down there, who is married to Johnny Storm, who we don't realize yet, but in not too long, within 10 issues, we're going to find out that she is in fact a Skrull impersonator named Elijah. And Johnny's the one with the asbestos bag over his head. But go Franklin. So the new Fantastic Four and the original OG Fantastic Four, albeit a little bit different for this time in the 90s, before it went a little bit more classic in a few issues, with the advent of the Tom DeFalco, Paul Ryan run, which I absolutely adore. So now you get all these forces together after what is going to hatch out of this egg. And then Delilah, there she is in her Skrull form, completely revealing herself. And then she just recently, has been coming back in the Empire tie-ins with Fantastic Four. And that's why they're calling out to the original OG new Fantastic Four again. So that is what hatches out of the egg. It's this technological form, and it imprints on one of Mole Man's monsters. So everybody feels cheated, and then they have this crazy final battle, and the monster has its new baby, and it's kind of goofy and funny, and it's got a quirkiness that Walt Simonson brought to the FF that really attributed a lot to the Kirby and Lee days. So Delilah's all crazy. She thinks she's got Reed under her spell, but Reed has actually broken her spell. Reed punches her out, makes up with Sue, and then the Ghost Rider, Pennant stares her into, insanity, basically. And then the Skrulls are just like, what are we going to do? The Mole Man's like, oh, I'm so pissed. And then Spidey's like, yo, man, what's going to happen? And then it just very much abruptly ends with them leaving and everybody going their separate ways. And then there's the Punisher randomly flying over this island, and he's like, oh, there's the Fantastic Four. He's about to blow the island away. And then he just sees the Fantastic Four, and he's like, oh, no, they got it handled. Anyway, that's the Saga of the new Fantastic Four. They did show back up a few times here and there, more in particular in 374, where they have to go up against Johnny and the Fantastic Four, and Wolverine actually slashes Thing's face. I should have put that up here, but I didn't. So there you go. That's the new Fantastic Four. It's a great Fantastic Four story. And how inappropriate would I be if I got this far into Marvel of the 90s and did not do a Fantastic Four-centric episode? So here are my original copies here. There's my 347, the start of the story. Great Art Adams artwork, a great Walt Simonson story. It promises you it's the world's goofiest comic magazine. It does that for a reason. There's my 348. I actually bought this a few years ago because the original copy I had was the second printing. Now there's a second printing of 347, which is copper colored. I don't have that. I need to get that. But there's the first print of 348 with that iconic cover. And here's the second print, which is gold. This is the one I had as a kid, and I loved it. And then it all wraps up in issue 349, an oddly colored cover, but an exceptionally well done and drawn cover. Overall, I like this story. I like it a lot. Fantastic Four sales have been slow for a long time. They were Marvel's dominant force in the 60s. And then in the 70s, interest started waning. But in the 80s, it kind of got revitalized a little bit with the run of John Byrne. But that was mostly comic book snobs that were into that stuff. And then in the 90s, there was just nothing that was going on. It kind of went through a really bad period post-John Byrne. But then Walt Simonson came in and did most of the artwork himself. His run was like 18 or 19 issues. But it's really solid. In his first run, they Reed invents a time sled, and they go through time, and they get like the time variance authority against them. And it's so crazy, kooky, and weird, and wild. And there's a lot of stuff that was already set in place. Like Ben Grimm is human again, but he's piloting a thing suit, right? Which is weird. Sharon Ventura, his girlfriend, is the she-thing. Johnny's married to Alicia. Don't worry, she's just a Skrull. But when they did this, Art Adams came on, and they brought in the most popular characters. Wolverine, Hulk, Ghost Rider, Spidey. And sales went through the roof. They had to do those 2 reprints. And people really remember this run, and they really love it. And even today, the new Fantastic Four has a legacy. It's part of the Fantastic Four legacy. I'm proud to have been the ripe age of 11 or 12 when this happened. I was totally sold on it. I loved it. And it was my first Ghost Rider comic book. And yeah, I absolutely love the new Fantastic Four run. That's a great story. It's goofy. It's kooky. And that's what Walt Simonson did. And he had a great, very severely underappreciated run on Fantastic Four. But it's definitely in the spirit of Lee and Kirby. 100%. Simonson is of the school of Kirby. And that, my friends, was Marvel in the 90s. All right. Great to have Marvel in the 90s come back after a short hiatus. Marvel in the 90s is not something I can do every single week, but when I can do it, I'm going to do it and have fun with it. And I enjoyed revisiting the new Fantastic Four story today. So do I, Billy. That's the Tom DeFalco and Paul Ryan stuff, too. I love it. I grew up on that shit. You have to love the FF. We don't get Doom without the FF. You are right, my friend. 100%. They did have an OG Marvel card. We'll get to that. They were so big of a deal that one of these Marvel cards from Series 1 is of the new Fantastic Four. So yeah, those books are from 1990, right? Yep, 1990. Ruben says, why the heck don't you have more subscribers? This channel's awesome. Well, thank you. We have just the right amount of subscribers that we need. We'll grow naturally and organically. We don't try to put too much effort into it. But we do have a goal of hitting 10,000 this year. It got slowed down by the COVID situation, but hopefully we can still hit it. But I appreciate the confidence, Ruben. All right. Ricky says, I wasn't really into FF, so I never saw those comics, but I'm going to grab them because the artwork is awesome. The artwork is super awesome, and the story's really, really good. It's fun. And it seems like, yeah, it's sidelining the Fantastic Four in service of these popular characters, but it's not necessarily, there's not a lot of Thing and Johnny action, but there's plenty of Reed and Fake Sue. But I love it. And it's really cool. I love these, when you read these comic books from back in the day, like you read the Hulk and you're like, oh man, what's going on with Hulk? Why is he gray? Why is he acting like a dipshit? Like, holy crap, let me go read Hulk. You know, that's what you do. Like, who's this Ghost Rider guy? Let me check it out. It's really good stuff. It was a really good way to get kids like me to read more Marvel comics. And DC did the same thing. All right, I'm looking up the Eisner Award winners so we can take a look at those pretty soon. Because I know that Little Bird won Best Limited Series, and I know that something else won something, but I don't remember what it was, so I'll have to look at it, and we'll take a look at it together. So the next bit we're getting to is the Eisner Award winners. We're about to talk about them. I do remember when Wolverine messed up Thing. I love that shit. Thing wore a mask for a minute. I have a 10-inch Thing figure. I have a 10-inch Thing. And it's got a helmet. Oh my God. I'm literally being serious. I have a 10-inch figure of the Thing, Benjamin Grimm, and it has that helmet. Ruben, there's not much to talk about with Endless Winter. We don't know what it is. Endless Winter is a new tease from DC Comics. It'll probably announce more at the fandom event or whatever it is. Some people are speculating that it has something to do with the Endless from the Sandman universe. Some people are thinking that, I saw somebody on the channel today commented on the wrap up. Mr. Freeze, maybe that's a possibility. There's apparently a character named Endless Winter that was like Lex Luthor's sister or something like that. I vaguely remember that. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. We'll find out more. I'm sure we'll find out when they do that DC fandom thing. What is that like? I mean, that's got to be like next week or 2 weeks from now or something like that. I do like the FF covers on Empire. Me too. I love the Jim Chung main covers on that book. Why can I not just find a simple list? Let's go here. Too many winners, yeah. What's the Black Winter shows up in DC, and that's like the start of the DC Marvel crossover that Diamond refuses to publish or distribute. Codpiece needs to come back in DC, yes. I saw someone ask me if I had a copy of Doom Patrol number 70, first appearance, at my shop, and I don't know. I'll look tomorrow, and if we have 2, I'll let you know. If we have 1, I'll buy it. Because now I want it. All right. Best short story was Hot Comb. Don't know what that is. Best single issue one shot was Our Favorite Thing Is Monsters. Yeah, that's not a surprise because that was the big darling last year. Best continuing series was Bitter Root. Bitter Root's good, but I don't know about best continuing series. Best limited series was Little Bird. That was my pick of the year. Best new series was Invisible Kingdom. At least it wasn't Doctor Doom, but Invisible Kingdom? Okay. Best publication for early readers, Comics, Easy's ABC. Okay, sure. Best publication for kids, Guts. If it's anything like the Nickelodeon game show from back in the day, hell yeah. You know, I've always wanted to go on eBay and buy like a piece of the Crag, one of the Guts trophies, and then like change the plaque on it to have my name on it, and then like just lie to everybody and tell them that I was on an episode of Guts and won. Best humor publication, The Way of the House Husband, Volume 1. Okay. Best anthology, Drawing Power, Women's Stories of Sexual Violence, Harassment, and Survival. Okay. Best reality-based work, They Called Us Enemy. Cool. The George Takei book. That's cool. Best graphic album new, Are You Listening? Okay. Best graphic album reprint, LaGuardia. That's actually a good book from Dark Horse. Best adaptation from another medium, Snow, Glass, and Apples by Neil Gaiman and Colleen Doran. Okay. Best U.S. edition of International Material Asia, A Tie with Cats of the Louvre, and Witch Hat Atelier. A tie? Best archival collection project, Strips, Crazy Cat. The Complete Color Sundays. Best Archival Collection Project Comic Books. Stan Sakai's Usagi Yojimbo The Complete Grasscutter Artist Select. Yes. Best Writer Mariko Tamaki. I need to read this Harley Quinn Breaking Glass book because... Let's just say I need to read that. Because I don't know if that's true. Best Penciler Inker. Rosemary Valeria O'Connell. Laura Dean Keeps on Breaking Up With Me. Haven't read that. Best Painter Digital Artist Christian Ward. Okay. 100% can be down with that. Best Cover Artist Emma Rios from Pretty Deadly. That's an interesting one. Best Coloring Dave Stewart yet again. Another award for Dave Stewart. But let's be honest, with the work that he put out this year, yeah, Gideon Falls, all the Hellboy stuff, he wins a lot for that. Best Lettering Stan Sakai, hell yes. That's great recognition. Best Comics-Related Periodical / Journalism, Women Write About Comics. Best Comics-Related Book, Making Comics. Best Academic Scholarly Work, EC Comics, Race, Shock, and Social Protest. Best Publication Design, Making Comics. Best Digital Comic, Afterlift. Yes. Afterlift by Chip Zdarsky and Jason Liu was amazing. It's on Comixology. Check it out. And Best Webcomic, Fried Rice. I don't know what that is. So there you go. Eisner's are a piece of shit. I'm just... I like some of the... I agree with some of them. Some of them I don't even know what they are. But that's fine. But like I said, we're doing a PCP Fan Awards towards the end of the year, where we're doing a true best of 2020 as nominated and voted by the PCP Army. I'll have to check that Laura Dean book out because I've heard some good things about it. And I'll check out the other stuff. I'm only familiar with some of her more... I mean, I think that she's a fine writer. I just... Like, I guess I have to read the nominal work from her over the year. Basically. So I know what they're doing. I like those old books about magic by Eisner. Deadlifts are amazing for self-esteem. You're right, Billy. If you don't do it correctly, you'll fuck up your back, so don't do that. Ruben, Guts. Oh, I love Guts. I wanted to be on Guts so much when I was a kid. Still do. I am very pleased about Little Bird getting the recognition because I still stand by my statement that that's the best comic book of 2019. I love the hell out of that book. And I am pumped for Precious Metal to debut, I believe in early 2021. I got the nice deluxe hardcover. I want to meet Darcy Van Polgeest. He reached out to me months before that book came out. And so I'm not trying to be biased. Maybe I am. But like I read that book and I was like, bro, this is really good. And it's a love affair. I love that book so much. That's what I was thinking about Bitterroot. It just seems like it's not, I don't know. That's why I'm happy we're doing the PCP Fan Awards for the first time in 2020. But we're doing it at the end of the year because we're actually going to have the year be the year. And not do the weird stuff that the Oscars do and the Eisners do where it's from this point to this point. Weird is what? Yeah. All right, we've taken a look at what's coming up in shops this week. We took a look at our favorite books of last week. We took a look at the new Fantastic Four on our Marvel in the 90s segment. We've answered a lot of questions. We talked about Tom King. We got Jim Mint to commit to a Teen Dog Shades Night video with us. I think we've had a good, successful live stream so far. We even had a super chat by old Derek, so we really appreciate that. Got a Joker video out of it. And we even took a look at the Eisner Award winners, and I recapped yet again everything that we've done so far for the night. And now we're going to take another break. But when we come back, the third segment, we're going to be talking about my top 5 favorite of the moment. Because this will change over time. Top 5 favorite Donny Cates books. And then we'll be doing some more question answering and then show and tell. So we'll be right back here on Rockin Robbie. When we come back, we'll be talking about whatever you want to talk about. Get your questions in. And then we'll be talking about our top 5 favorite Donny Cates books currently. We'll be right back here on Rockin' Robbie Live. And welcome back here to Rockin Robbie Live on Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm your host, Rockin Robbie Billups. How are you doing? Got to give a big shout out right now to all the patrons who are supporting us over at patreon.com/PCP. We got David, Alex, Brian, Nelson, Reggie, Brian, DD Bullseye, Dunlaney, HC, Jason, James, Javi, Jose, Josh, Lewis, Manmeet, Michael, Mikey, Nicholas, Robert, Sebastian, Timo, TJ, and William. Thank you so much for your support of the channel and everything we do. Bring in a positive, entertaining, and insightful look at pop culture in our society. I hope you enjoyed the Teen Dog Shade night last night. Had a lot of fun doing that. This upcoming Friday night, we got New Jack City, a live movie review coming out. Also on Thursday night on the Everything Comics channel, that's Bullseye Bob's channel, we'll be doing our Best Comics of the Month live stream. Me, Dylan, Bueller, and Bob talking about the best comic books in our opinions of the month. So thank you so much for joining us here. We've had a great show. I've had a great show. What do you guys want to talk about? Throw in your questions, your thoughts, your comments. Get them in right now. And then we'll be talking about our top 5 favorite Donny Cates books of all time, of the moment. Because it's going to change. The next issue of Thor could change this list. Did you get what I'm saying? Oh, thank you so much, Everything Comics, donating to the upgrade of the studio. Thank you, my man. I appreciate it. Yeah. Yo, World Eater, call me Galactus. I'm in a 2-seater, let me tell you what. Coming to eat your world so strong. Take the energy into my long lungs. Let me tell you what I'm doing. I'm big and I'm tall and I'm purple and I'm blue. I got a tuning fork on my head. What's it to ya? My name's Galactus. Yeah, dog. What the hell? All right. Thank you so much, Bob, for the donation to the upgrading of the studio. We really do appreciate it. That Joker video always has been messing with this program. It may want to leave. I don't want it to go anywhere. We'll figure it out. What do we got to do? Ruben, not a fan of Donny Cates, I presume. Is Death Metal 3 going to be hard to get? Billy, I wouldn't imagine so. Death Metal is going to be one of DC's most heavily ordered books of the summer, for sure. Though you do have some shops that are like refusing to carry extra copies of DC or even carry them at all, based on an alliance with Diamond. Yeah, it was a freestyle. I don't know. I just looked over and saw Galactus, and it's yeah. What's crazy is when I re-listen to sometimes I re-listen to them after the show, like later on, a few days, and I'm off beat because it's like it's not matching up right or something. But trust me, in my head, I'm doing it right. I don't know what it sounds like to y'all. Damien wants to know, how has business at your shop been since the reopening? Up to normal levels? Yeah, I would say so. There's not as much product right now at times, but there have been some big launches, both comic book wise and gaming wise. Well, I'm in Alabama, and to be honest, most people weren't. I mean, so when we were shut down, we were doing curbside, and we were doing okay. But there were no comics, and there's no new product coming in for games or anything like that. But since we've been back on full bust, which has been since pretty much mid-May, we've been solid. We're a bit understaffed, but aside from that, it's been pretty solid. I'm pleased, I'll say. And things like death metal have helped. Not so much Empire. What did I think of Bliss? I thought Bliss #1 was an intriguing idea and a decent start, but it didn't wow me. But I trust Sean Lewis, so I'm down for the ride. Robbie, I am excited about Iron Man #1, Kafu art. What has this artist done? He has worked on... There's two different people. I get Kano or whatever mixed up with him too. He did do work recently on Quantum and Woody. I think the Elliot Rahal issues. Don't quote me on that. Maybe it was the Kibblesmith ones. But he's a good artist. But I'm excited for it too. Cantwell is a good writer. I don't think Dr. Doom is as solid as apparently the Eisner nominators thought, but, still pretty decent. It's okay. But his book, Everything, at Dark Horse is amazing. So I'm excited to see what it'll do with Iron Man, because I'm ready to... I want to read an Iron Man comic. And I've been forcing myself to read these terrible 2020s, and I'm done. I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to read it. When does No Heroine #2 come out? Well, 1 just came out, so I would guess 4 to 5 weeks, but it being from Source Point, I don't know. But it's one of their bigger launches, so I'm sure they're trying to get on track with Diamond. So probably like 4 or 5 weeks. But I'm not 100% certain. Maybe a Google search would find it. Necroverse was created by Gore and King Thor, right? Then is it a timeless reality then? I'm going to have to reread that one. I'm not familiar with the concept. I mean, I should be because I read it. Timeless reality, the Necroverse. I have to reread that. I plan on doing a reread of Jason Aaron's Thor run. I know that Brooks would love to cover it in Comics Revisited. That's the name of the show, right? Oh, Bob is out. Bob, thanks for joining us, buddy. Appreciate the donation. You have a good one, man. CMA Thunder, what's up, my man? What are your thoughts on Cgc and Raw Copies? What do you like best? I like Raw Copies better because I can read them. I don't own a Cgc book. I do have one. I just contradict myself like that, like I'm Rick James or something on Dave Chappelle. I have one that was a gift that I treasure. It's a 9.2 Venom Lethal Protector #1 gold foil variant. So I need to pull it out of the closet and show it off sometime, maybe next week. But CGC is fine. If that's what you're into, that's cool. But me personally, I don't CGC books. I even have some things that some people think I should CGC, but I don't because I do flip through them at times. He did Valkyrie. Okay. Samuel, I'm right there with you on the art on No Heroine. I think the book would have been a stronger launch with a more solid and consistent artist. There were at times where the art was okay and serviceable, but for the most part it was kind of awkward and quirky, and it didn't work for me. It felt like, to be honest, it felt like the early Dark Horse Buffy books as far as the artwork goes. I did not like the artwork there either. So I guess that maybe they were going for that, but, he's a better artist than I am, 100%, 100%. But I would have liked a more like stylized, dynamic artist for that book. And maybe a colorist that uses more like boisterous and in your face colors and crazy cool contrasts and shit. And textures. But yeah. Oh, yeah, Daredevil 21 is really good. The Daredevil run by Zdarsky's been great. It's a great issue that's basically a connecting issue between Phase 1 and Phase 2. But it does the job very well. And Chichetto's artwork is a revelation. If a Groot falls in the woods and there's no one around to hear it, does it still say Groot? Well, that's the question of all questions, right? And my answer would be yes. I mean, I'm not trying down. I got plenty of friends that are into CGC and all that kind of stuff, and that's cool, but when you CGC a book, you can't read it. To me, that defeats the purpose of a comic book. But that's to me. I understand why people do it. But to me, comics are different. Comics are things to read. Not necessarily things to like, I don't know. It's nice when a comic book incurs value, obviously, right? And I am obviously a collector of many things, including comics. Haven't tried this Caramel Apple Jacks yet, but I wanted to throw it on set for a week or so before I tried it. But I'm really excited to try Caramel Apple Jacks, though Serial Time TV, Gabe gave it a kind of a mediocre review. What's up, Tony? You want a shout out? Tony Santoyo. How you doing, buddy? Billy gave you a shout out too. JBlue68 says, I don't CGC either. I have many valuable books, but I cannot see mailing my books off to strangers to grade. That concept needs to be completely revamped. What do you think that they should come to you and grade it and vacuum seal it and all that? I don't know how else to do it. We CGC a lot at our shop for other people and for ourselves, and we never have problems for the most part. Never, hardly ever. So it doesn't seem to be that big of a deal if you're shipping it there correctly. I know people wigged out on that Superman video, but people that handle comics all the time, that's how they handle those things. Sometimes being too careful will actually hurt the book. Does that make sense? Robbie, do you remember the s'mores cereal back in the 80s? Yes. Was that S'mores Crunch or something like that? It was like golden grams that were covered in like cocoa with marshmallows. Bruh. Can we get that back? That being said, the Honey Maid s'more cereal is really good. It's basically Cocoa Puffs, golden grams, and marshmallows. And it's decent, but it doesn't have the same oomph as that S'mores Crunch cereal from back in the day. Should be done locally. That'd probably be difficult. I mean, it would be locally, but you'd have to like maybe drive to like the nearest big place. Like we'd probably have to drive to Nashville or Atlanta, something like that. You can do it at shows. I know a lot of people that really prefer that because what happens is CGC goes to shows and you can get your book there and you give it directly to them and then they take it there and then ship it back. Oh, that Kanto issue was amazing. Fable, you can do one book. It's a bit pricey. I usually only encourage people to do it if it's going to increase the value of the book. And then only if you care about increasing the value of the book. Yeah, that Kanto was great. Ricky says, I'm not the biggest Power Ranger fan, but that Ranger Slayer looks awesome. What was that all about? Ranger Slayer is a evil, at times, version of Kimberly Hart. There she is right there. She's from a world where Tommy went completely evil, killed Rita, and dominated his universe. He became the Lord Draken. And he brainwashed Kimberly Hart, the Pink Ranger, to be his servant. And so she, in the Shattered Grid story, breaks that mental hold. And the Ranger Slayer one-shot is about her going back to that universe and dealing with what comes after. What's up, Nick? Thanks for turning me on to Alienated. Just got caught up and it's great, right? And that's a book that keeps getting better each and every single issue. I'm telling you guys something. We're a little over halfway through the year. But right now, Alienated is making a very, very strong case to me for Book of the Year. We got to see what happens in the last 2 issues. But if they keep up the rhythm and the pace that they've been building, this has potential to be one of the best books of the year, if not the best book. Issue 1 was good. Issue 2 was better. Issue 3 was mind-blowingly amazing compared to the previous 2. And issue 4 was even better than issue 3. What the hell? Books don't do that. Not even Little Bird, to me, ever lived up necessarily to its first issue. It did. I think it did. But its first issue was so strong. This one has crept up and just gotten so powerful. I love that book. God Tank says, talking about cereal, I always have to bring up the GOAT, Smurf Berry Crunch. Yes, I wish they'd bring back Wild Berry Fruit Loops, because to me that tasted what I remember Smurf Berry Crunch to taste like. Quisp and Quake. Crispy Critters, Saturday morning cartoons with rice crinkles. Yes. Quisp and Quake. I'd like to... Do they still make Quisp? I know they quit making Quake, but do they still make Quisp? I think they do. Maybe they don't. Maybe it's very limited. I never see it. Just read the Firepower Prelude, thought it was very well done. Yeah, the graphic novel, amazing. It's okay, CMA. You don't have to understand Power Rangers and TMNT. What's your generation? Are you more of a Masters of the Universe G.I. Joe Transformers guy? Because I feel very fortunate to be a child of the 80s and the 90s. So I was getting all that. From He-Man all the way through Turtles and Power Rangers. King Vitamin. Yeah, I think they still make that. But it's very limited. You can only get it like in certain areas of the country. Do you think Red Mother and Something That's Killing the Children will eventually make their way to Hulu or Netflix? Yes, probably Netflix, because they have the first look deal with Boom right now. And Once and Future had a deal before that deal that Boom made with Netflix. So Netflix gets the first look at all their properties and wanting to turn it into something else. And I think Red Mother and Something Is Killing the Children would be really cool for that. But Red Mother has a ways to go in order to make it a truly compelling TV series. Because right now you got a good 6 episodes, maybe, you can draw out of it. Any Saga news yet? Not that I'm aware of, no. They said a 1-year break, but it's been longer, hasn't it? Yeah, it makes you wish it was the show, Fable. Power Rangers, the comics are way better than the show. Watch Super Sentai if you get a chance. Seriously, you can download torrents, TV-Nihon, Nihon, something like that. They do fan subs of things that aren't aired in the U.S., so it's like a legal thing to do. And you can download things that haven't had an American release, including Super Sentai. Really good stuff. I would recommend starting with Go Kaiger. Go Kaiger. Go Kaiger. G-O-K-A-I-G-E-R, I believe. Go Kaiger. Child of the 70s seems pretty cool, too. Y'all had some really good shows. I got to watch some of it in reruns. I haven't watched Old Guard yet. I want to read the book first. I'm so old now I don't remember what was good. The Vein sounds really cool to me. Elliot Rahal, Emily Pearson doing a vampire book. Okay, that sounds great. It's about these vampire criminals that like rob blood banks and take blood, but it's getting more difficult to do. It's a vampire book by Elliot Rahal. I'm down. So down. Night Thrasher. We need Night Thrasher back in a real way. All right. What are your favorite Donny Cates comic books? Sound off right now, because now we're hitting the top 5 Donny Cates books. At number 5, Buzzkill. Buzzkill you can find in a Dark Horse trade paperback, written by Donny Cates with Mike Risnick, I think, with artwork by Jeff Shaw. Buzzkill is about a superhero whose powers are activated by being drunk, by being completely intoxicated with alcohol and other drugs. Meanwhile, this dude is trying to get his life together. He's going through the 12 steps and he's trying to be clean and live a clean life. And then, all of a sudden, the world needs his superhero powers again. What does he do? That's Buzzkill. Absolutely amazing book. Number 5 for me. This list is going to change over time. Number 4, Thanos wins. This was when Donny Cates came to Marvel. He did Doctor Strange, and it's pretty decent, but the Thanos book took us all by surprise. Donny Cates, Jeff Shaw, yet again. Fabella on the coloring. This book was amazing, turned me into a 100% Thanos fan. It was perfectly set up by the Jeff Lemire run, 12 issues before this run. It introduced us to the Cosmic Ghost Rider. That's right, the Herald of Galactus, or my bad, former Herald of Galactus, now Herald of Thanos, Frank Castle, with the Spirit of Vengeance. What the hell? This book was so great, and it actually gets into the character of Thanos and what makes him tick, and it has one of the best endings to a big comic like this I've ever seen from a Marvel mainstream book in the last 10 years. At number 3, Venom. Venom hits the list because it's pretty solid. Not only is it the best, to me, like one of the best Donny Cates superhero books going right now, not only is it one of Marvel's best comics going right now, it's the best Venom comic book that's ever been done. Love it. Venom is amazing. He takes everything that I loved about Venom as a kid growing up in the 90s, reading Lethal Protector and The Madness and Funeral Pyre and all the other nonsense that came after it, and he funnels it into a more sophisticated and nuanced exploration into addiction, codependency, all kinds of crazy stuff. And he's building it into one of the biggest, most exciting events Marvel's had in several years, if not decades. At number 2, Silver Surfer Black. Silver Surfer Black is a nice, clean and lean 5-issue series with artwork by Tradd Moore. Oh yeah, and you can't forget to shout out Ryan Stegman's work on Venom. Tradd Moore's artwork in Silver Surfer Black is so absolutely crazy, bonkers, and wild, and Donny Cates is having fun along with him. And he's doing an interesting story, and some people are tying this into the Black Winter, trying to see if this fits into the ultimate plan Donny Cates has. It doesn't matter. This is just a great 5-issue series that's an exploration on despair, darkness within, how to overwhelm yourself with darkness and get over that. This book explores the character of Norrin Radd through a very innovative psychedelic approach with the artwork and the structure of the story, and I love it. And it's his best superhero work in my opinion. And at number 1, God Country. It's the book that made me notice Donny Cates' name. Jeff Shaw did the artwork. Jason Wordie did the coloring. I love this book so much. It's about this dude. He's got Alzheimer's disease. And his son is dealing with a struggling family. He's spending money and resources on his dad's care. They're trying to be there near him. His wife is displeased with that. He has to come up to the tough decision of maybe abandoning his father to a nursing home or something like that. Then this crazy giant demonic tornado shows up, spits out this crazy sword that is literally the god of swords and represents all swords in all of history. And he grabs a hold of it, and now all of a sudden, Emmett has full mental faculties at his hand. He's no longer, he's the man he was before. He's super strong and super powered as long as he's holding the sword. This book is nuanced, it's big, it's explosive, and it's the reason they got the gig to do Thanos. And then eventually Guardians of the Galaxy, and now, of course, crossover. So what I really want to point out here, and why I did this, Donny Cates spotlight tonight, even though this is never going to be a definitive list, we're so early into his career. 3 of these 5 books had artwork by Jeff Shaw. So when they say that this crossover book with Image is going to be the most ambitious thing they ever did, I am excited as hell. We don't have Jason Wordie doing the coloring. I love Wordie's coloring on Jeff Shaw's artwork in books like God Country. But we do have Dee Cunniffe, who colors another good, solid Donny Cates book right now, Redneck. Donny Cates has other work that's good, as well as these 5, like Interceptor, Baby Teeth, The Paybacks, Ghost Fleet I hear, but I've not really gotten into that one yet. So this is never a definitive list yet. And Thor's really good, right? Really, really good. But it's still just starting. And Venom's not finished yet, but so far, so good. It's a little bit more longer than Thor. Anyway, what I'm saying is Jeff Shaw did 3 of those 5. And so when Donny Cates and Jeff Shaw work together, it's the real deal. And I am pumped for crossover. It's telling a Cloverfield perspective on Avengers Endgame, is what Donny Cates kind of said. He wants it to be from an everyman's perspective. It's a giant comic book event that we're used to, happening so big that it's breaking reality and literally coming into our world. This is a very Grant Morrison-y type idea as well. Final Crisis, I thought, did a pretty good job of trying to reach into our universe, and I think that Morrison almost perfected it in Multiversity with the Ultra Comics idea. So I'm excited for this one. It's going to be a really cool thing. He's going to be able to use some Image characters. So, Spawn, Savage Dragon maybe, Shadowhawk. Huh? Yeah. And he's not going to be able to use DC or Marvel characters, but he is going to be able to do versions of them. So this is a big crossover that he's doing. That's so big it's breaking reality and interacting with our reality. And I even think his protagonist, his eye on the street, is going to be Mark Waid, I believe. I don't know. Something like that. I read something about that. But I'm excited. So when Cates and Stegman do great stuff too. But when Cates works with Shaw, it's the real deal. 100%. So at this point in their careers. So there you go. That was my top 5 Donny Cates books as of July 26, 2020. So what are your favorites? Sound off. Let's see here. Samuel says God Country. CMA Thunder says God Country. Derek Magnus says Paybacks, Venom, Thanos, and Buzzkill. He said Old Guard, but that's Rucka. Eddie says Venom. Yep, Derek says not Old Guard, God Country. Oops. Yep. Fable says, I've only read Venom and Thor, and they're great. Missed out on his other books. I really want to read God Country. Grab the trade paperback. It's amazing. In fact, if you really want to do us a favor, go to... I'm just kidding. Actually, yeah, there's a link in the description that says Amazon Marketplace for PCP. If you go there, I don't think that book's on that page, but if you go to that link and then go and buy it on Amazon, I think we get like 10 cents, homie. Eric says, love me some Venom. CMA says, Thor's really good. Fable says, oh, and Silver Surfer Black. Yeah, that's a great one. Ricky's only familiar with the Thor run. Maybe you should check out some of those others. If you like his Thor run, I would really recommend Thanos Wins. That's a really good book. It's big, epic, cosmic, boisterous, and it's got nuance to it as well. It's got like it's weird to say, but a delicate approach to the character of Thanos that is very real. Even though it's nihilistic, but it's still very real and impactful. It's a weird thing. Silver Surfer Black was phenomenal. Tradmore killed it too, yeah. Nick says, loved me some God Country. Picked up the full run recently. Herminio says, the Venom run is my favorite Donny Cates right now. I understand not wanting to pay $20 an issue for Thor, Billy. I think that's ridiculous. I hate that happened. And it's not going to help that the second and third printings are already being heavily spec'd on. So 6 issues coming out, then there'll be a trade. Cates was writing in Invincible? I didn't know that. I have not seen that variant, Rick. Ricky also says Thor because it's the only thing I've read by him. Steven says Silver Surfer Black. Reverse Amoeba says I love Baby Teeth. Ricky says I'm going to check out Thanos. Hell yeah. I think you'd like it. If you like his Thor, you'll like his Thanos, I think. Dollars are always causing problems. You know that. The Cosmic Ghost Rider miniseries that spins out of the Thanos Wins is pretty solid too. The only thing Marvel-wise that he's done that I haven't been that big of a fan of is Damnation. I love his first book on Doctor Strange. If you just get that first trade by Donny Cates, it's great. But then it goes into Damnation, and it lost me. I don't really like Death of the Inhumans that much, and I don't really like his Guardians of the Galaxy run that much. But Thor, Venom, Silver Surfer Black, pretty legit. And the Cosmic Ghost Rider, for sure. Yeah, you could probably do Invincible in that crossover, 100%. He could probably do Rick Grimes. What if he did that? What if he did Rick Grimes? What if he did it? Now you always got to get the first 5 issues of any Kate's run so you don't have to pay eBay prices. It's not a bad idea. I'm really pumped for this crossover book. I think it's going to be exceptional. I think it's going to be pretty solid. Anybody ever read Interceptor? It was by Heavy Metal, right? It's a vampire space sci-fi thing. It's now published by Vault. And they're in the middle, or they were in the middle of publishing the sequel Reactor, but it's probably going to be a while. But Interceptor's out. That's pretty good. Don't forget, Friday night, New Jack City movie review as demanded by Fable and the rest of y'all. That's why we do these top 5 lists, to recommend things to each other and demand that people, you got to revisit New Jack City. And you're right. You are right. And I'm very excited. And then the following week, we're going to wrap up Action Fest with the Bourne movies. All 5 Bourne movies in one night. So we're looking forward to that one. And then Action Fest will be officially over. Our summer look at action franchises and such, and action stars. Plan on doing annually now, as we always have intended. And we always do Horror Fest annually. So until we get to Horror Fest, which, by the way, y'all, I was at the grocery store the other day and I found Reese's Pumpkins. That means we can go ahead and start Horror Fest. But we're still going to wait till September. And so in August, we're going to be focusing on the Bill and Ted movies because we're building up to the launch of the 3rd film, because now we know that there are going to be no August movies, really. And we may get one more in there as well. I think I got to look at the schedule. But so, yeah, New Jack City, Bourne, wrapping up Action Fest, Bill and Ted mode, and then Horror Fest. His Interceptor looked too manga for me, but if it's good, it's good. I like it. It's Darren Bennett. Dylan Burnett. Darren Bennett's a letterer. Dylan Burnett is the artist of that one, and he was the artist on Ed Brisson's recent X-Force run before the Dawn of X stuff, which I thought was pretty solid. It had Kid Cable in it. And then he was the artist on the Cosmic Ghost Rider miniseries that Cates did. That was really good. I know, living the life, collecting great toys, watching great movies, reading great comics, talking about UFOs, eating cereal. I am living the life. Thank you all for the support. I'm looking forward to the Bourne reviews too. I've only seen the first 3 films. I've never seen the Jeremy Renner one and the one where Damon came back. I got the complete set over there now, so I'm looking forward to revisiting 1, 2, and 3, which I love already, and then watching 4 and 5 for the first time. So I'm looking forward to it. And I'm really looking forward to revisiting New Jack City. And we are doing all 3 Bill and Ted films, and then I want to try to get Perry in on one, and I want to do Dazed and Confused, but I gotta reach out to him and see if we can get that going. Because Dazed and Confused is one of my favorite movies, and it keeps getting brought up on the PCP Live movie nights. It keeps getting brought up amongst us in the PCP crew. So I think we're going to do it again. That's good to hear. And there was a TV show, didn't they? Did they do the Treadstone TV show? Did you ever watch that? Was that good? Hey, did you ever do a John Hughes poll? No, but that's a great idea. Might even get Hammer Time Holshoe on a John Hughes poll. I'd love to do a John Hughes poll. My vote's for Breakfast Club. Second vote would be for Weird Science. Third vote, Home Alone. But we got to do that one during Christmas, so that wouldn't be on it. Yeah, there's like a TV series on, I don't know what channel or service it was on, but there was something. Hey, CMA Thunder with the super chat. Thank you, my man. Always appreciate and watch all your vids. Well, I appreciate you doing that, homie. Thank you so much. We're upgrading the studio in the coming months, and we're really, well, and Hamburger Basket jumps in as well. That means we get an extra long musical break. Hey, yo, I gotta tell you about this little man that I know. His name is Hellboy. He was raised in hell, but then he came to the earth sometime long ago. Brought to this earth by Rasputin, son of a demon and a nun who had sex with the demon, but then was raised by Professor Broom. Now he fights evil and monsters. Shit. Now he fights with the man who's a fish named Abe. Now he fights with the fire starter named Liz. And the ectoplasmic mess named Johans. BPRD. Huh. I thought that was actually pretty good, y'all. If they do another Hellboy animated thing, maybe we can write the 80s animated theme song type thing. Oh, Lord. So what happens when you're 2.5 hours into a live stream? Hell yeah. Huh. Thank you all for the super chats and helping us upgrade the studio. We are expanding out the studio into a second room, adding a second set, spreading more of the collection out so more of the collection can be displayed, adding some new lights and equipment as well, and we have big plans for fall and beyond, I should say. So, very excited, and thank you for the support. For real. And now we're about to hit show and tell. We got a lot of show and tell today. Last week was the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo. Let me tell you a little bit about the weekend. It was one of the only cons to have happened, so it actually got covered by Bleeding Cool. We had Chris Claremont there. There were a very limited number of guests. Sergeant Slaughter was there. I didn't get to even see him. I didn't even saw him. Should at least walk by his booth. The booths were so far away. The celebrities were so far away from where the vendors were and where we were, PCP. We usually sell over like 100 mystery boxes. I only brought 30 because it was going to be a smaller show. Masks were required. Social distancing was kind of enforced. But we had a great PCP panel. You can find that PCP panel on the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo Facebook page. Because of the rules and regulations about sanitizing during and after the panels, we did not bring in our own equipment to record it, but it has been recorded, and it is on the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo Facebook page. So you can find that. It's also been posted in the PCP Army. Me, Jelani, and Jay Strick, and Brooks at the tail end, because he was in Chris Claremont's line, who is very long-winded. So that poll is up there. I mean, that panel is up there. And also the panel that I did with Chris Claremont is up there as well. I had a great conversation with Chris Claremont. We had to do it at a very strict, like 30-something minutes because of the regulations. And with Chris, you just can't do that. Last time I did a panel with him, it almost went 2 hours. So He talks a lot, but you can find that same on the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo. But we had a good time, and so far everybody's safe and fine, and we were all wearing masks and keeping our distance and doing what we had to do. So I feel like it was a good show, and the best part of it was picking up some cool swag. So we have an exciting show and tell. First up, and before we get to the con swag, does anybody collect old wizards? Because I like them. I like old wizards. So, was there a new Snake Eyes? I'm not sure. I know there was one released earlier this year. I think I saw that one on Hasbro. There was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive that's come and gone, and now it's being released in the G.I. Joe Classified line. Oh, thank you, CMA Thunder. This was my second panel with Chris Claremont, so that was really, really cool. I was less nervous than I was in the first one. But Chris Claremont's a really cool guy to talk to about comics. Really, really is. And I got some stuff signed by him. But before we get to the con swag, so anybody else collect old wizards? I do. I love, like, that's got an amalgam poster in it. Like, bruh. I thought about this straight up, and I was like, you know what? I want this just for that poster so I can put it up in the new studio setup. So I did get some old wizards. Let me show those off. Joe Mattiera cover. Loved this back in the day. Just get them all here. Jesus. Here's one. A Spawn cover. Look at that, y'all. Wizard 29. I love reading old wizards. I think I have this one. But never hurts to have another one of these with the Villain Guide by Alex Ross. Here's some more Image. There's Ripclaw and Warblade. Y'all know I love the 90s, right? Speaking of the 90s, there's Angela, Joseph Lisner. I'm definitely going to be opening these and taking all the cool swag. That's got Dracula cards in it. All that kind of stuff. Hell yeah. It's weird, some of the things that they make me approve, comments-wise. And here's another Spawn cover right there. So just wanted to show off some wizards I just got. Got those out of a dollar bin, but here's the even crazier thing. And I'm doing this to show you that you need to look through your dollar bins, your 50-cent bins, your quarter bins. I got these ones all out of the out of the 50-cent bin. Bruh. This was one of my favorite series. Well, I shouldn't say it was one of my favorites because I had a limited selection, but it was one of my favorite comic books when I was a kid in the 80s reading comics. But I got a really cool run here of J.M. DeMatteis and Keith Giffen stuff. Dr. Fate, number 1. It's the initial miniseries. Number 2. Excuse me. Number 3. Love this run. And number 4. I had these when I was a kid, or at least my stepdad had them, and I used to read them. Loved it. Then I got the series that comes after it. Issue number 1. Didn't have issue number 2 in the 50-cent bin. But I do have 3, so I do have to find a Dr. Fate number 2. But there's a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this is J.M. DeMatteis stuff. 11, 12. Then the annual. And then 13. Yeah, it's not over. 14. Let's keep going. 15. 16. 17. You want to see a really cool cover? 18. Look at that. Looks like a metal album. 19. 20. 34. What? That's a big jump. Then I have the Immortal Dr. Fate. Issue 1. I think this came right before. Issue 2. And issue 3. So big stack of Dr. Fate books. from the 50-cent bin. Pretty dope? I think so. So now let's get into some of the swag I got at the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo. As we're knee-deep into show and tell now. So first of all, I got my issue number 2 of Perched from my homie Lance Allen. Lance has his own comic book publishing indie company here, Dance Panda Comics. This is the second issue of his fantasy epic Perched. It's autographed by Lance, who is the writer and colorist of the book. Claudio Munoz is the penciler of the book, but the cover is done by Kevin Stokes, who you know from last night's Teen Dog Shades night. And he autographed it for me. Kevin was a featured guest at the show. So I got that. That's pretty cool. And then the last time I met Chris Claremont and did a panel with him, I got some X-Men stuff signed, but I completely forgot to get any of my Fantastic Four stuff signed. So I got him to sign my Fantastic Four Volume 3, number 10. There's his signature right there. And kind of a pen that looks like it was running out. But this is one of my favorite issues because it really makes the Trapster kind of threatening. And then here's a number 27 of that same run with Doom marrying Sue, but it's actually Reed in the armor. It's a silly story, but I like the idea. And I got him to tell me his whole original plan for this story. And then how they made him differ from that. And I can't remember if that was on the panel or after. Maybe it was on the panel. So I got those. This is probably the best pickup. I'm going to save that. I'm going to save the best pickup of the whole weekend. I did get this 90s Toy Biz Iron Man Hydro Armor action figure from my buddy Chris. Hooked me up on with a really good deal on this one. Hydro Man Iron Man. We'll open that up one day. Also from Chris, I got this Parademon from Superpowers. It is like about to pop out of there. Super easy. I think you can pull it off too. Just automatically. Like it's not like secure on the card. That's why it's in the bag. But to have one with the card. I don't have a card for a Superpowers figure. Which is pretty crazy to me. But got a Parademon. So that's really, really cool. This was a big one I've already showed off, I think, Friday night. But here's the Turtle Party Van I got. Look at that. Got the Party Wagon. Stickers a little bit faded. I'm going to get repro stickers to put on them. So that's going to be cool. It's got a lot of its pieces. It's missing the radar dish right here. And it's missing the 2 bombs. And aside from being a little bit faded, the thing that actually snaps in, I guess, with the door and the hinge here, it's a little worn. So it kind of flies off when you actually do the feature. But let's see what we can do here. Yep, see it flew off, but it still does the thing and all that. But yeah, got the Party Wagon. Pleased with that. I don't have the bombs that come with it, but I have a couple friends that actually have the bombs. So maybe one day I can get one. But yeah, bruh. Very excited to get that. There was a Punisher van at the same con, and I was contemplating whether getting the Punisher van or the Turtle van. And I went in Sunday morning and the Punisher van was gone. I had made my decision to get the Punisher van, but it was gone. So I got the Turtle van instead. And even though it needs some work, but I have one with a lot of the parts that are usually missing. So it turns out Mike bought the damn Punisher van. So that I could get it at a later date from him. It is missing the big gun that goes into it, but unless you're actually playing with it, you don't even notice that. So there's a Punisher van in the future, y'all. It's $100 away. But right now we're raising money to build the studio, not for Punisher vans. But it's pretty much the same toy as the Joker van, which will be making its reappearance soon on the channel. I don't know if they're doing anything for Spider-Man Day. They may be giving something away for free, or if they do, it's probably not going to be very impressive. I haven't heard anything of Spider-Man Day. I know about the Batman Day thing. Usually they do these masks where they do like a free issue, like something like that. But we'll work on the Punisher van. We're working on it. But the other thing I got, it's right there. It's Point Dread for my Castle Grayskull. The Castle Grayskull that you funded out there in the PCP Army through Super Chat. So thank you again for that. Joker claps for everybody. So not only did we got the Castle Grayskull, now we got Point Dread. There it is with the Talon Fighter right on top of it. But not only do we have the Point Dread, and that's all that you've seen so far here on the channel, but it came with the frickin' box. Right? This is I don't have a single box for Masters of the Universe, and now I got one. And collecting these boxes alone is worthwhile because the artwork is amazing. Super cool. And in said box, we have the other piece of Point Dread. So if you want to use Point Dread as its own base, you attach it to this, or it attaches to Castle Grayskull. But, I mean, we really want it so we can attach it to Castle Grayskull, right? And there's the little cardboard cutouts and the frickin' record. The record. Because this actually came with a record with these stories that were involving and centered around Point Dread. So I got this for a pretty decent price. And the record is one of those 80s things where it's got the storybook, right? And the read-along record, and it's got its own mini comic as well. And the record. And Mike, the voice Matthews, who I did see creeping around earlier, let me borrow like a little tiny record player so that when I eventually do a video for this, and I will, I get to play the record. And these are the cardboard cutouts that make the control panel and the thing. And before we get to the absolute best pickup of the night, and I know you're thinking Turtle Van, Talon Fighter, Point Dread with the record. How do you beat that? Well, we'll find out after a Joker video or two because Richard doesn't want us to leave the show without yet another. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for supporting. And I'll tell you what, all things go to upgrading the studio. And wouldn't a Punisher van upgrade that studio? We'll add that $2 to the Punisher van fund. Thank you so much for your support. All right, thank you, Richard. Really do appreciate that. I don't think I've ever heard or seen David Hatch say or type any curse word. And David Hatch says, smack that thumbs up, subscribe, and all that shit. Hell yeah, David. I knew we'd have a negative influence on you eventually, aside from just stealing your lunch money. But I do give you comics in return. But I wouldn't mind a chocolate milk every once in a while. Stephanie's in the house. What's up? How you doing? Long time no hear. We got another item for show and tell. Like I said, Point Dread, Turtle Van, the record in the box with Point Dread and the book. What can top that, y'all? I got a compact disc of Star Trek the Motion Picture, still sealed in the old school CD This is how CDs used to be sold, y'all, because all the fixtures were designed for records, see? So they all would be like, I remember going and buying CDs like this. I remember seeing the Black Album like this. I remember seeing the Simpsons singing the blues. I remember buying it at a Kmart in one of these kind of things. So that, to me, is one of, like, I'm not even, I mean, I'll be honest. It's the Talon Fighter. That's the pick of the week. I mean, that was the haul of the show. But this was really fun, and it was like the last thing I bought. I found it, got it for like nothing. But it still has the $13.99 price tag. Best value series. But I love that art. I thought that would be a super, super cool, fun thing to hang up in the studio. Ow. And since I showed this in Show and Tell on a Friday night, not as many people watch Friday nights as Sunday nights, the Friday night movie reviews. I do want to show off one more time my Eternals #1 that I picked up recently. Incredibly low grade, as you can see. But as Chad from 90MF Comics always told me, low grade is better than no grade. I got an Eternals #1. While this book is like stupid hot, not as hot as it was, but as we get closer to the release, it's going to heat up again. And they just confirmed that the Eternals are showing up in the Ten of Swords storyline for the X-Men. So, but I got one. I'd like to get a whole run, but I'm just glad they're doing a trade paperback later this year and a hardcover omnibus. So, be on the lookout for those, y'all. Yeah, $13.99, late 80s, and it's value priced, man. Value priced. Oh, the Phantasm Ball I just got a few days ago. In fact, I got it Friday. The night that we did the Edge of Tomorrow video and that show until I showed off my Phantasm set. The ball is in the living room displayed, believe it or not. The ball is in the living room displayed where the Castle Grayskull usually is. But there's the DVD or the Blu-ray set that comes with it. It's got all 5 Phantasm movies. And I do have the outer box right here. And as you can see, it comes with the ball from Phantasm. So, but yeah, I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. In Horror Fest, one of the nights we're gonna like in Horror Fest, just like in Action Fest, we're gonna do some things where, we cover an entire franchise in one giant video. Long form is what we're aiming for, right? You can find tons of movie reviews on YouTube, and they give you a great movie review. We want to get a little bit more long form with ours and talk for like an hour about a movie. And then just bullshit afterwards and just kind of have like a regular ass podcast or something afterwards. That's what we do on the movie review. So if you haven't wanted to check out any of those because of that, maybe you should check it out. It's pretty fun. They're pretty fun and wild, and I have a lot of fun with them. And we do a show and tell at the end, and I showed off the ball. The ball is in the living room, though. Literally, like, probably 13 feet away from me. Boy. Yes, the Canadian version. That way, it's a region A, so it still works in American Blu-ray players. It's you can still find them online. They're a bit pricey. They started out at like $120. I paid like $150 for that one though. But to me, the ball, the set, I love this movie series so much. It was worth it. And I haven't seen the 5th one, so I'm excited to be watching that for the first time while revisiting the first 4. Even though I think Phantasm 3 is pretty trash. I don't like that one. Hey, Rylan, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so much, Rylan. I really do appreciate the support and helping us achieve our goals and dreams here at PCP with upgrading the studio and getting Punisher vans, upgrading our equipment, and continuing to provide content, insightful, hopefully, entertaining, maybe, positive, for sure. Content here about pop culture. Anyway, thank you so much. That brings us to the final 9. We've been going through these Marvel cards. Let's continue. There's Iceman. Dope card. This is Marvel Series 1. Wolverine. We already had one Wolverine in his brown costume. This is him in the Tiger Stripes costume. There are 3 Wolverine cards in here. Solo Wolverine cards, I should say. There's Storm. Love that costume for Storm. Reminds me of the Toy Biz action figure, the first wave. Shadowcat, that's an Art Adams one, with Lockheed. But Lockheed will get his own card. Foreshadowing, maybe? There's Moon Knight. And did you know that Shadowcat's natural state is intangibility? It's only by concentration and training that she can keep herself in a solid state. There's Lockheed. Got his own card. Look at that. And then Aunt May. Like, what? Aunt May? Aunt May got her own card. This is the only trading card I believe Aunt May ever had. But there it is. And then we got Spider-Man. We've already had a Spider-Man in his black costume. Now we have him in the traditional red and blue. And then finally, Cosmic Spider-Man. He's got the cosmic powers. This is Cosmic Spider-Man. Says so on the back. So that's it. And did you know that with his cosmic powers, Spider-Man was the strongest superhero in the Marvel Universe? Did you know that? Cosmic Spider-Man's good stuff. Maybe we'll cover that one day in Marvel in the 90s. What did I say? What show was that? Marvel in the 90s. I do need a micro for the Punisher van. And here's the thing. Did they do... I guess I need to get that Newman figure that they just did. Right? Right? Those cards, they're in excellent condition, as you can see. Beautiful. Beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. They're worth like 10 cents each. Oh, but I love these card sets. We're going to continue looking at those in the first 6 and the final 9. Long live Iceman. Hell yeah. That's a great line of characters, too. I love the Wolverine one. And like I pointed out earlier, on the back of it, it says Wolverine's first appearance is Hulk 180. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you guys so much. Oh, we got a final question here. The Ninja Turtles Ronin book is coming out next month. You going to pick it up or no? David, I am totally picking it up. TMNT, The Last Ronin. Seriously, Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird, teaming back up for the first time in years. I watched that episode of The Toys That Made Us. I've been waiting for this since that. So, yeah, I'm pumped. I want to know who it is. I'm picking it up. I'm pumped for it. It's going to be hype. It's going to be large. People will be talking about it. Just got my Nova back from CBCS. Came back at 9.0. I was pumped because I thought it was 7.0. That's dope. Thank you, Eric. We are at the end of the show. What did we do tonight? Showed off some comic book cards. Talked about our picks of the week. Answered a lot of questions. Had a nice discussion. Tom King. Talked about the new comic books of this upcoming week. We did a Marvel in the 90s segment on the new Fantastic Four and where that stuff comes from. We talked about the Eisner winners. That was kind of a boring segment, to be honest. I'm sorry, I won't subject you to something like that again. We talked about our favorite Donny Cates books. And we did show and tell. Showed a lot of cool toys, comic books, signatures, things like that. DVDs even. Blu-rays, I should say, not DVDs. $90 on eBay for the free ash can? That's crazy. I didn't even grab one of them. I should have grabbed one. Anyway, thank you guys for saying great show. I think we had a great show. I think we killed it tonight, PCP Army. Thank you so much. So, once more, Patreon.com/PCP if you want to help support the channel. Unlock early access. We're not currently really doing the podcast or other things like that. So the early access you get, though, is an downloadable audio file of the weekly comic book review hours before it drops on YouTube. So you have access to that and other fun little tidbits here and there. Join us over at Facebook, Pop Culture Philosophers. You can join the PCP Army. It's our Facebook group. We're very active on that. We have a lot of fun. You can check me out at Twitter at the Rockin Robbie, though I hardly post there. We are also on Instagram as Pop Culture Philosophers, all one word. And check out our website. John does a great job on that website. PopCulturePhilosophers.com, podcast, blogs, and a whole lot more. Our podcast is great, and now we're getting more blogs, including written advanced reviews from Jonathan Strickland, and we've got a couple of blogs about Gundam from Dashing Drew Madsen. So if you're into Gundam, I highly encourage you to check out the site and check out those blogs. Anyway, thank you, patrons. Thank you, PCP Army. Thank you guys so much for a great ballin' live stream. We'll see you this upcoming week for all of our shows and next week for Rockin Robbie Live. Y'all have a good one. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep reading. Keep loving. So Hasbro Pulse has been doing these exclusive figures, and they did a Green Psycho Ranger exclusive, which I pre-ordered. Mine is allegedly on the way. It's supposed to be here Tuesday, right? Because I won every single one of these Lightning Collection figures. And it has started dropping, and they are now selling for over $100, if not over $150 on eBay. So that leads me to the idea that this figure that I paid $20 for months ago is finally going to come in. And it's worth so much money. Well, I should sell it, right? No. Fuck that shit. I'm going to open it on a Rockin Robbie Live. Next week, hopefully, if I actually get it in the mail. Plus, you know how the mail is. Shit's going to be damaged anyway. And one day, maybe I'll get tired of my Power Ranger toys. But to be honest, I don't see that day coming.